Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jason Old Millennial. Here I am talking to you in my basement, in the great state of Kansas. And I thought this wasn't actually a live stream I was planning on ahead of time. I just kind of came up with this idea yesterday, since obviously the Oscar nominations were yesterday morning, and I got to see them because I get home around 7:20 or 7:25 in the morning because I work the night shift. So I actually was working Monday night, got home Tuesday morning right in time to watch the Oscar nominations, which since I was a teenager, I always watched the Oscar nominations. And if you know anything about me, I've always been a big fan of the Oscars. The Oscar ceremony, I've been watching since about 1993, I want to say. So 2023 now. So we're talking, 30 years. I've been watching the Oscar ceremonies and love well, as a kid, of course, there's a lot of movies I had never heard of or didn't know anything about. I've caught up with a lot of those now, of course, but I still loved watching the ceremony, the whole, seeing all the celebrities together. Usually the host is usually funny, and back in the day, it was Billy Crystal and Steve Martin were like the funniest ones hosted. I love that. And I don't know, I just love seeing this, celebration of movies and kind of seeing who are the, who's considered the best of that year. It's always kind of interesting to look at, what does the industry think is the best that they can offer. And sometimes that matches with the audience. Sometimes it does. Most time it doesn't. Most time they're not movies anybody really cares about. But back in the day, it used to be actually, I think, better. It used to have more of your big hits getting the Oscar nominations. Lately, it's been pretty bad. It's been a lot of really bad movies get that win and get nominated, and movies that just nobody sees. But I think this year actually was a little bit better than last couple of years for sure. Hopefully, it's a better Oscar ceremony. But anyways, yeah. So I've always been a big fan of the Oscars since I was a kid, and I've always loved trying to guess who's going to win. I've been doing that since I was a little 13, 14 years old. Uh, and then when I've gotten older, I've tried to catch up with all the Oscar nominees. I try to watch as many of them as I can. Usually I can't get through them all. I have to wait till like the next year to finally get to renting the ones I didn't get to see in theaters. So the same thing this year. I've seen 5 of the best pictures so far. So I still got 5 more movies to catch up on before the Oscar ceremony, which I believe is in March. So we still got like over a month of time to catch up with everything, hopefully. Anyway, so yeah, if you know anything about me, like I know a lot about the Oscars. That's always been a big thing ever since I was a teenager. I was always impressing people with my knowledge of the Oscars because most people don't know anything about the Oscars or the Academy Awards ceremony or who's wins and who's got nominated. But I have a pretty good like encyclopedia brain when it comes to award shows and stuff. And I'm one of the big things I can do is I can if you name a year between 1929 and today, I can tell you who won Best Picture. And I've seen all the Best Pictures except for Coda, which won last year, which I haven't gotten around to yet. I'll get to that soon. I think I've been wanting to watch that. But yeah, eventually I'll get to watching Coda, and I watched all the Best Picture winners, and I've seen every Best Picture nominee probably since 1950 or so, like 1960, somewhere in there. I've seen every Best Picture nominee. So I got pretty good knowledge of everything that's been nominated and that wins. Anyway, so it's always the Oscars is like the Super Bowl for me. Like as a movie fan, like I look forward to the Oscars every year. Like lately, it's been terrible. It hasn't been as fun to watch the Oscars, but I don't know. I still catch up with it usually. Uh, I think, yeah, I won't go into it, but like it's just too political sometimes. I hate all the politics that get involved. Um, but the one thing is, like, I've learned that there's always something crazy that happens at the Oscars. Last year, the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life was Will Smith getting up on stage and slapping Chris Rock across the face. I've never seen that happen in a award show. And so it's fun to watch that and go, man, you remember that day? Of course, like back in the 70s, you had like the streaker, you had uh, the incident where Marlon Brando wins and this fake Indian actress comes up and or denies the award. So crazy things happen to the Oscars. But anyway, so yeah, I watched the nominations yesterday. Kind of had some thoughts since it's a big deal for me. Thought I'd share them with all of you. I printed off some of the big nominees here. I thought I'd go through some of these and kind of just give my thoughts on everything. So thank you anybody that's watching this. Hopefully I can give you some thorough thoughts and things. And got a lot of streams or a lot of comments here through the lens. Hey, Josh. Josh, probably one guy that pays as much attention as I do to the Oscars and the awards. Um, so Josh, I know, has a lot of thoughts on the Oscars as well and the nominations, and he shared them a lot on Facebook. He also seen a lot more of the movies than I have, so Josh has a lot more ideas than I do probably. But I got Jacob. Hey, Jacob. I got my sister Abby. Hey, Abby, how you doing? Oh, the Oscars were nuts. Okay, that's interesting. I'm so happy with some of them. Yeah, Josh did a really good job of predicting some, or uh, he did a really good job. And there's one particular one which I know he's really happy about that I had no idea would get nominated. Have you seen All Quiet on the Western Front? Actually, I started watching it yesterday. I got about an hour into it. It's a 2.5 hour movie on Netflix. I watched about an hour of it, and then I stopped and watched something else. Not to say it's a terrible movie. It's just a long movie, and I don't know, when I'm watching TV at night, if a movie is too long, I usually don't watch all of it in one sitting, unless it's like really really exciting and really good and really interesting. Then I might keep watching. But I don't know. I'm weird that way. I like to watch many things at once, kind of thing. Like I'll watch a little bit of this, I'll watch a little bit of that. I kind of switch between different movies and TV shows when I'm at home at night. And yeah, so of course, when All Quiet on the Western Front got nominated for Best Picture, I was like, oh, that's on Netflix. I need to watch that. So I was starting to watch it. I got about an hour into it. I'll give my thoughts on it here when we get to it. But um, like I won't say I'm like excited to finish it necessarily, but I'll definitely try to finish it maybe tonight. Let's see, Jacob. I have never liked the Oscars and the movie award shows, mainly due to the politics. Yeah, I hate the politics. They drive you crazy. But I got to be honest, this was a balanced set of nominees for once and a step in the right direction. I totally agree. That's my big take on this whole thing. Is the last several years, I would say a lot. Last year, man, when I caught up with like I said, I haven't seen Coda yet, so Coda might be really great, and that won Best Picture. I'd be interested in, but pretty much all the nominees were just terrible movies, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. I generally don't like Oscar ceremonies. I mean, Oscar movies are generally these really. Lately, it's been very obscure movies that I feel like didn't get big releases that are harder to find, and of course, a lot of streaming stations like Apple Plus did Coda, but Netflix and who Amazon Prime are getting nominations usually now. Um, so if you don't have those streaming services, it's hard to get to those movies. Um, but it was pretty terrible, I thought, last year. As I caught up with a lot of the movies, I give a lot of half stars, 1 star movie reviews on them. uh, it's been pretty disappointing the last couple of years. So I think this is actually, yeah, a really good step in the right direction. I thought they actually nominated some films that people actually watched. My biggest problem with the Oscars is they nominate movies that nobody watches or nobody really cares about outside of, the critics and the real, movie snobs or whatever that watch everything and they know everything. But the regular viewer like doesn't watch these movies, and so it's not that fun to watch the Oscars when you're like, I don't care about any of these movies. I mean, like it was so much fun back in like 2003, let's say, or 2004 Oscars, I should say, when Lord of the Rings: Return of the King won 11 Oscars. That was the best Oscar ceremony, the most memorable ceremony I've ever watched in my life. Because it's so fun to watch Lord of the Rings, one of the best movies, one of my favorite movies, win 11 Oscars. And I'm sure it did really well in the ratings as well because everybody was like, cool to see something, that everybody really likes, and it did really good in the box office. But I mean, you got movies like Titanic, which is a huge box office. It was the biggest box office movie for a long time, won Best Picture back in '97. You got Braveheart in '95, Forrest Gump in '94. These are all huge box office movies that everybody really loved and did well, won Best Picture. And so I wish we can get more to that, where we get movies that are actually the audience likes and that are critically successful as well. It's really hard, but hopefully they're going the right step with this. See more, Josh. Cinematography was a stinker, though. Felt the nominees were kind of hideous. Really? Okay, that's interesting. I didn't print out the cinematography. I think I know all Quiet on the Western Front. I think every nomination in the technical categories. I think Elvis maybe got nominated. I didn't look through all of those. Empire of Light got in there, which was the only nomination they got. I think they were big on cinematography, but I guess I'd like to know what you thought should have got in there, Josh. You might know more than I do. I've seen all 10 Best Picture noms. Yeah, I know. You've seen all of them. I think All Quiet will take it. Please, no. Really, All Quiet. Yeah, All Quiet, when I get to it, really surprised me how well they did in this nominations. Like, I didn't know it was that well received, or I don't think it's gotten that many nominations in other awards. So it really came out of nowhere to me. I was kind of aware that the movie was like somewhat successful critically, but man, it really did really well. And now I think it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of getting up into the, I don't think it got director Oscar. It didn't get director though. But I don't know if that matters as much anymore. Back in the day, your best picture always got best director, but I don't know. But All the Quiet on the Western Front, I think, definitely pushed itself as not a front runner necessarily, but one that you have to think about a little bit. Could this be an upset? See, Jacob, I've seen half of the movies nominated for Best Picture as of today. Me too. I've only seen 5 of them so far, but like I said, All Quiet on the Western Front. I'll try to finish that maybe today. And then I know Tar and Triangle of Sadness. I get that, but I think I can get to those soon. The only ones that I'm not sure about is Avatar because it's still in theaters, I believe, and I'm guessing it's going to be on Disney Plus at some point to stream. So I'm kind of waiting for Avatar to get on streaming so I can watch that or direct. I mean, what do you call it? Video on demand or something like that, and then I can catch up on that one. But I don't know. I don't know if that'll get on streaming or video on demand before the Oscar ceremony, so I can catch up with that one before the Oscars. And then Women Talking is the other one that I think that's still in theaters, maybe. And I don't know that's on. It's on video on demand at the moment, so I'm guessing maybe you get on, hopefully on HBO Max or like video on demand or something before the Oscars, and then I catch up with all 10. I very rarely catch up with all 10. It seems like there's always some really obscure ones that are hard to get to before the Oscars, but we'll see. Oh yeah, happy to see everything everywhere. Get all the big Oscar love. Don't know if it'll win Best Picture, but that my vote ones I've seen. I mean, it has a great chance. It got 11 nominations. I mean, it did absolutely incredible. I mean, it did. I thought it was going to do well. It did like way better than I even thought it was going to do. And it is very popular. I mean, it is a very popular choice. It won the Critics' Choice, I believe, for Best Picture. I guess it didn't win the Golden Globe. I think it lost out on Golden Globe. So we'll see when we get to, I guess, the BAFTAs maybe. But I think it definitely has a big chance. And yeah, I know, Jacob, that was your #1 movie of the year. So, I mean, a lot of people had that #1 movie of the year. So I think critically it was very successful. And a lot of the other people that I know really loved that movie. I'm like one of the few ones that didn't like it. After Sun should have gotten Best Picture. Yeah, After Sun is the one I know is your favorite movie, Josh. And it got, what, 1 nomination. So that's something because After Sun, to be honest, never heard of this movie, never seen any marketing for it, never seen a trailer for it. I know nothing about the movie except for Josh really loves that movie. He talks about it a lot on, I guess, on Letterboxd and Facebook and stuff like that. So I see Josh talking about it. I don't really see a lot of other people talking about it. And it's not a movie that came out. I'm guessing it. I never heard of it, so I'm guessing it didn't come out in Kansas at least, or it didn't have a wide release, or it's just an indie movie. So at least it got 1 nomination. I mean, I know that's pretty cool that it got something. They gave it something there, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll catch it someday. We'll see. I got Mike. Hey, Mike, how you doing? I am doing well, Mike. Hope you're doing well. And I want to say congratulations to Mike from Did You See That? As he got engaged this last Sunday. And great. He even posted a video of him proposing on Facebook Messenger. And it was I love seeing people propose. That's one of my, I don't know, what do you call it? Guilty pleasures. I don't know. As sometimes I'll watch on YouTube, I'll watch, proposal videos because I don't know, and I get a little teary eyed because they're fun to watch because the girl, the girl gets so excited, and it's just a happy moment. It's one of the happiest moments in your life when you get engaged. It's just exciting and absolutely wonderful. So, congratulations to you, Mike, and your fiance Emma. I'm very happy for you guys, and very excited for your, getting married and all that. And it's definitely very exciting time for you. And Mike's the best guy, one of the best guys I've ever met. And I wish Mike and Emma just the best and just the happiest, marriage. And just wishing you all the best there, Mike. And yeah, it was, man, watching that video, it makes me nervous because I was so nervous when I proposed to my wife, 6 years ago. Or, I mean, I got married 6 years ago, but like 7 or whatever years ago. That was the most nervous I've ever been in my life, and never would want to do it again. But I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad she said yes. And but it's so fun to watch other people go through it. See, I can respect anyone that likes the Oscars and these award ceremonies. Personally, for me, I don't care about any of them, but it'd be cool to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I find that a lot. I'm always surprised because I always think if you're a movie fan like I am, or a movie nerd, I call myself, the Oscar ceremonies is the Super Bowl of the movie year, and so it's always fun to watch it. To go, okay, I don't know. It's fun to watch competition, I guess, and watch, who's going to win. It's even if it's not going to be someone I like. It's always kind of fun. It's fun to predict and see if you can predict it. That stuff is kind of fun, but yeah, I find a lot of people that love movies like I do don't care about the award ceremony, which I guess that's just a me thing. I know Josh from Through the Lens loves it. I don't know how many other people really love the Oscars like I do. It's always been a big deal for me. So, and it's getting terrible views lately because the Oscar ceremony's been doing terrible. They nominate terrible movies. They get terrible Oscar hosts, and the ceremony is way too long. It's like 3.5 hours long. They need to cut it down to like 2 hours. I think if they could cut the Oscar ceremony seriously, and that seems like a big cut, but I mean seriously, if you can get down to 2 hours, get a really funny host, and you nominate some movies that people actually like, I think the Oscar ceremony would be much more fun to watch and get better ratings. Obviously, I've only seen 2 of the Best Picture nominees: Top Gun and Banshees and Sharon. Really? Okay, yeah. Yeah, you got a lot more to watch, Abby. I think usually you catch up a lot of the Oscar ceremony stuff. I mean, Elvis is on HBO Max. If you have that, All Quiet in the Restaurants on Netflix. So a lot of them are somewhat available, if not on video on demand. Like I said, most of them are, except for maybe Avatar and Women Talking. It's the only ones that's hard to get to, I think, right now. See, last year's Oscars was a joke. Yeah, the Will Smith incident turned the Oscars into a farce. I don't remember any of the wins last year due to the stupid incident. That was the big talking point. That's for sure. Because I was floored when that happened. I was at my parents' house watching it, and it's funny because it's a late show. I think my dad and my mom already went to bed, and my sister went back to her room. My younger sister, and so I was by myself watching it. I think I was watching by myself, and when Will Smith went across and slaps Chris Rock, at first I thought it was a joke. I was like, oh, this is like a bit or something. But when Will Smith started yelling, get my wife's name out of your effing mouth, and the way he yelled it and the look on his face, the tension in his face, I was like, oh, this is no joke. He really slapped Chris Rock, and he is angry, and he's cursing him out from the stands. And I was like watching it. Well, it cut out. I remember when he went to slap him, and then when he yelled, the video cut out, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I guess they're cutting out him yelling the curse word. But then when it came back, you heard him kind of yelling again. So you heard him. You still kind of caught a little bit of his yelling. And I was like, I was the only one in the room. I was looking around like, did anybody see that? What did that? Did he? Is that real? Am I crazy? Is that the craziest thing I've ever seen? I mean, it took a while to process. I'm just sitting there on like, and they go to the best documentary, and I'm still like, but did he slap Chris? I don't know. It was crazy. And then my sister came out of the room. It was like, I was like, did you see what happened? I'm like, I think so. I still can't believe it. And it's like, and she's like, think she was on Facebook, and it was like all over Facebook or all over something. And she's like, Chris Rock got slapped. I'm like, yeah, I think I saw that. That was a crazy thing. But yeah, last year was. I said Coda again. I don't know how many people saw Coda. You have to have Apple Plus to see it. So Coda was kind of a weird movie to win, though it might be a good movie. I haven't seen it yet. A lot of the movies like Power of the Dog I thought was terrible. And I'm trying to remember what got nominated. Was it Belfast? I thought I just saw that recently. I thought that was terrible. Yeah, and there's just movies people don't care about. Like, was there one movie that was that successful last year that was nominated? I don't remember. I have to look, but usually not. Paul Mescal from After Sun. Let's go. Glad they chose him over Tom Cruise. Yeah, that's the big one. That was somewhat surprising to me because again, Josh talks about Paul Mescal from After Sun all the time, and I just thought that was a Josh thing. But I was like, no, Josh is right. He got in there, so other people really like him. We should talk about the nominees together soon. I know. Yes, I know. Me and you, Josh. I think the only two that really care. So we would have a really good conversation. I think on the Oscars. Sorry, I got a lot of chats here. The best picture nominees I've seen to date: Avatar, Elvis, Everything Everywhere, The Fabelmans, Top Gun, Maverick. Yeah. See, Abby. See, it's great the three successful blockbusters were nominated for the year long. Yeah, that's what I'm going to get to. You guys are really getting to my thoughts already. What I'm thinking for the Oscars, it's not the films that are small; it's the campaigns. Yeah, it's all about campaigning, and it's all about who do you like and who has been nominated before and who do they like nominating. Like Meryl Streep, every time she comes out with a movie, they nominate her because the Academy just absolutely loves Meryl Streep. So there's certain people like that just always get nominated no matter what they do. And yeah, and you have to be kind of an insider maybe. And yeah, you have to campaign, you have to kiss babies, as they say, and really bow down to the Academy to try to get in. I will say I was compelled. This is Jacob talking. I was compelled to watch Parasite after it won Best Picture, and it's one of the biggest surprises of my life. Okay, yeah, that was interesting. I watched it too, and yeah, I was surprised by how terrible it was, but that was just me. Uh, Triangle Sadness was a stinker. My least favorite. Yeah, I saw that was your 10th one on there. That's one of the obscure ones I got in, I think. I'm always terrible at predicting who will win Best Picture. The Academy always throws a curveball. Yeah, I've been kind of bad at predicting lately because I'm always predicting the one that I always figure the movie that I hate the most is probably going to win. So I usually go for that. And then lately, it's actually hadn't been the worst movie. Like I guess Power of the Dog was going to win last year because I hated that movie, and Coda won, so that's kind of surprising. I'm like, oh wow, Coda won. Nomad I hated and it won, so I got that one right. But yeah, there's definitely movies I'm like, oh, this movie's terrible. It's probably gonna win Best Picture, and that's usually my guess at it. Like this year, my least favorite is Banshees of Sharon, and it could win Best Picture. I don't know if it will. My second least favorite movie on the list is Everything Everywhere All at Once. That'll probably win Best Picture, and that was my least favorite one. That was my top 5 least favorite movies of the year. So it's like, yeah, the 2 movies I hated the most probably will win Best Picture. See, Empire of Light was Deakins' worst shot film. Yeah, Roger Deakins, like the goat of cinematography. That's why, yeah, I got nominated. I would have chosen The Northman, yeah, Top Gun, The Batman, All Quiet, Tar. Oh, that's your 5. Okay. So I think some of those did get nominated. Yeah, Northman didn't get any nominations. I can see that maybe for cinematography. Oh, geez, I messed up here. Okay. A lot of stuff from Josh here. I'm not the biggest Batman fan, but the way that film took as part of the story is trying to tell. Um, yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Batman. It was on a lot of people's number one. Like, um, I said, people I know, like Mike from Did You See That had that as his favorite movie of the year, and I feel like somebody else did. So a lot of people love that movie. I didn't love it. It was okay, Batman. It was cool that it got some Oscar nominations, though. I like that movies that people watch get an Oscar nomination, so I'm always kind of pulling for the. I'm still pulling for the Batman, to get something because people actually saw the movie, and I think that's a good thing. Movies that people actually watch get wins would be great. I think, in my opinion. Yeah, it definitely had a good look to it and everything. Woman Talking is amazing. Yeah, that's one I haven't seen yet. Don't know a lot about that one, in fact, but I've been hearing people enjoy that movie quite a bit. Afterstone was campaigned very hard here in England because of the English film. I was gonna say I think it did well in the BAFTAs, maybe, which is the British Academy Award thing, um, British Academy Film Television Awards. So I'm guessing because of the BAFTA nomination, it somehow got into the Oscars. Um, yeah, Decision to Leave got snubbed. How? Yeah, that's I've heard that's the biggest snub of the Oscars. People were really shocked, and I was shocked too because I've heard, of course, I think Josh, that was one of your favorite movies of last year as well. But I've heard a lot of people love that movie. Don't know anything about the movie, never heard of it except for people like Josh who watch those movies, who know more about them than I do. But I've heard that's one of the top movies. Didn't get nominated for Best International Film. So yeah, that was a big surprise. I think people were surprised RRR didn't get in there, but I guess it didn't have a chance for some reason. Like it didn't get the India nomination or something. Uh, but RRR was like a one that people really liked. That was an international film. I don't know much about international films though, so I'm not real up on that. But yeah, yeah, Decision to Leave I heard was a big deal. Hey Adam, Top Gun Maverick was film of the year. Yeah, that would be something. I mean, at least that's a movie people watched. The Oscars is the only thing I look forward to each year, once a year for a film nerd like me to. Yeah, yeah, I always look forward to the Oscars. That's always one of the big things that I look for. Like as a kid, like I always looked forward to Super Bowl, the NCAA tournament, in March, and I always look forward to the Oscar ceremony. It usually happen, I guess, in around March. And I always look forward to the WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania are the two big ones for me in wrestling. So those are some of the things that, yeah, every year I'm like, I'm revving up for. I mean, the Emmys and the Grammys, I used to watch somewhat, but I don't watch them really anymore. I would have nominated Glass Onion and the Batman for Best Picture. Yeah, that would have been great. Actually, yeah, I was kind of hoping. I mean, I didn't think they would, but that would have been great if they would have. It was knew what he's doing. Yeah. Well, he's paying for it now. I would be happy if Avatar: The Way of Water wins Best Picture in September. Okay. Yeah. I don't think either one of those have a chance necessarily, but yeah. Will Smith. Yeah, I thought it was a bit because Chris Rock was like, "Yeah, what do you want?" like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I thought we were friends or something. I don't know. Coda was amazing, extremely heartwarming, inclusive. Power of the Dog was better though. See, I didn't like Power of the Dog. I didn't get that movie. Coda, I still would love to see though, because it looks like a cool story. I had 78% actually with the predictions this year. My highest actually yet. Actually messed up this up a little bit. Okay, yeah, yeah. I'll get to that. Yeah, yeah. You got a lot of thoughts on this, just like me. I saw 140 something new releases last year, and my top two got at least one nomination. Yeah, you gotta be happy. It's always fun when your favorite movies get nominated. That's what I always like to see. Is my favorite movie get nominated? It never happens, but it seems like very rarely. But Drive My Car was my favorite Best Picture nominee last year. See, Drive My Car to me was it's one of those extremely boring movies. 3 hour Japanese movie. It wasn't for me, but I know other people really liked it. Okay, I got through my chat, so let me give some thoughts on some of the nominees here. I've only got the kind of the major ones. I didn't print out all the technical awards. I don't have a lot to say about those really right now. When we get closer to the Oscar show, I think I will. I definitely will go through and do my predictions at some point. But I have to look over these and really think about it for a little bit. Anyways, but I'm going to start with actor and leading roles. What I got is the first thing I got here. So one of the big ones. We got Austin Butler in Elvis, Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser in The Whale, Paul Mescal in Aftersun, and Bill Nye in Living. So British, you got some British actors here, I think. Well, Colin Farrell's Irish, I guess, and but Paul and Bill are British. Austin Butler, I don't know what he is actually. I don't know much about Austin Butler, but is he American? Maybe. But yeah, this was the only surprise to me was Paul Mescal. I was not predicting to get in here, but yet I don't really know who would have got in here. I know people are saying Tom Cruise. I didn't really think Tom Cruise would get in here. I didn't think it was really an Oscar type role. It was Top Gun. I mean, it's not really an Oscar type movie normally. It's kind of more of an action adventure, fun movie. It's a popcorn movie. Popcorn movies usually don't get nominated, so um, I mean, it's great that it got some nominations. But yeah, I didn't think Tom Cruise would get in here though. That would have been really cool. I love Tom Cruise. He's one of my favorite He's one of my favorite actors working today, and been one of my favorites since I was a kid. Um, I can't think of who else would have got in here. I don't know if someone else got snubbed besides Tom Cruise. That fifth spot is kind of hard to guess, but I mean, it's definitely a three-way race between Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, and Brendan Fraser. Those are the three big ones. I know Brendan Fraser's been huge in this category since like one of the big, international film festivals like Sundance or something. He got a big standing ovation, and it's a great video. Him crying, and waving, and thanking everybody after they watched the movie, and that was such a heartwarming thing to see. And it's also really cool because Brendan Fraser, I was a big fan. I was a big Brendan Fraser fan as a kid, watching really the Mummy and the Mummy Returns. I watched those two in the theater. I absolutely loved those two movies when I was a kid. I don't know if they work as much today, but I thought Brendan Fraser was so good. He was a cool looking guy. He was like an Indiana Jones type guy. He was, actually very built at the time. It seemed like he had a good look to him. He can do action. He can do comedy. Yeah, those were real fun movies. At least the first two Mummies. The third one came like much later and wasn't as good, but I always liked those first two Mummies. Um, anyway, so anytime he was one of those guys. Yeah, I always enjoyed when he was in a movie, and then he kind of disappeared, and yeah, and he kind of went nowhere. And we're like, what happened to Brendan Fraser? He was so huge back in maybe that was like early 2000s, late 90s, whatever, when that happened. And so seeing him come back has been so cool. And now he's an Oscar nominee, and he won the Critics' Choice Award already for Best Actor. Interesting what happens in the Screen Actors Guild. That will really tell us what maybe is going to, it'll help predict who's going to win maybe the Oscar here. So I don't know if he's not a clear favorite. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a guarantee win here, but I think he's definitely the front runner. I haven't seen The Whale. I've seen the trailer, and he has like a fat suit on, and he has obviously some very emotional scenes and very emotional character. So it looks like he has those Oscar moments in there. And personally, I kind of like to see him win just because I think his acceptance speech at the Critics' Choice Awards was so emotional, and I mean, made me like almost want to cry like watching it, and it was very inspirational. So I'm like, man, he'll be great if he wins and gives a really great speech. And it'd be just a cool story that this guy that was kind of this action guy, comedy guy, now being an Oscar winner, and it's almost this comeback story of like he was no one would hire him. Maybe I don't know what the story exactly is, except maybe he went through some obscurity where nobody was hiring him, maybe, and he wasn't making a lot of movies, and the movies he did make did really terrible. Like Fairy Vengeance, which I actually have seen because my wife has it on DVD for some reason. And she showed me that movie when we were dating. She was like, "Hey, this is a funny movie, Furry Vengeance." I believe it's called. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm watching it like, this movie's horrible, but I want to impress my girlfriend, so I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's great." um, but yeah, so we got Brendan Fraser there. Colin Farrell, I think, could get in here as well. He's been around the business for a while now. I don't think he's got a nominee before. I don't remember him being nominated for. I didn't look it up because I'm pretty sure he hasn't. He's been some, like In Bruges. I know he won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy Musical. He won a second Golden Globe for this role. So I know he's got two Golden Globes, but I don't know that he got anything else from other movies. But he's been putting in solid work. I loved him in The Batman, actually. He was on my list of favorite supporting actors in my Jason the Old Millennial Award. So I really liked him in that. I didn't care for the Banshees and Sharon, so I'm not huge on his role here. But still, that's cool that he got in there. I wouldn't be upset if he won. I think he's a solid actor. And then Austin Butler has a very good chance. I feel like I'm hearing a lot of people are actually predicting Austin Butler in this role, which I remember Elvis. It seemed like Elvis came out a long time ago, and when Elvis came out, everybody was talking about Austin Butler and that he was like could win the Oscar, and that was a long time ago. Of course, it seemed like it was this last year, but usually your Oscar stuff doesn't come out until December. It seems like is when all the Oscar movies come out. So Elvis, Austin Butler, really great performance there. Iconic, you know, musician. Elvis, iconic, celebrity. He does a real good job here. He won the Golden Globe over Brendan Fraser for Best Actor in a Drama. But as Josh, through the lens here, predicted very well that I predicted Brendan Fraser was going to win the Golden Globe, but Josh in the chat, he predicted Austin Butler, and he was absolutely right. So Josh, really good job at nominate or predicting that one. And so you have to think Austin Butler definitely a real chance there. So I don't know. It's between those three right now. I'm like going towards Brendan Fraser. I said Paul Mescal's to me was the big surprise here. I was not expecting that because I don't think he got nominated for a Golden Globe or for. I don't know if he got nominated. I think he just got Josh can tell me, but I think he got a BAFTA nomination. Maybe I don't know if he got a Screen Actors Guild or anything, but so that's cool. I don't know who Paul Mescal is. I don't know if I've ever seen him in a movie before, but that's great. Bill Nighy, of course, he's a great character actor. I would say old British actor now. He's been in a lot of comedies and so forth, and uh, I don't know a lot about him. I mean, he seems like a solid actor, though, good British actor. And a movie called Living. I never heard of Living. Don't know anything about it, but he's been getting a lot of nominations, so I kind of thought he would probably get in there. But anyway, so that's actor in lead role. I believe these, as far as I'm pretty sure, these are all first-time nominees. So that's cool. We're gonna get a new Best Actor winner here. Let's see. I know I got some comments here. All right, yeah. Josh, see. It's going to Austin Butler. Okay, so you're predicting now Austin Butler for the Academy. Yeah, Academy loves biopics. Probably talking about like I'm forgetting names now, but Bohemian Rhapsody, the actor won recently for Best Actor in that role. Though the guy that did Elton John did not get nominated, which I was kind of surprised. I don't know if that was last year, or the year before. I think it was maybe 2 years ago. I thought he would get nominated, but didn't get nominated for Elton John. Of course, Joaquin Phoenix got nominated back in the day for Johnny Cash and that Johnny Cash biopic. So, Jamie Foxx won for Ray, also back in the day. So yeah, so biopics performances on biopics usually do pretty well. So yeah, I can see what you're saying there, Josh. So in an ideal world, Mescal, yeah, that would be a shock, wouldn't it, Josh? I mean, I think that would be the shock of the night if Paul Mescal won. People like Paul who will beat Brendan Fraser and Colin Farrell. Austin Butler definitely could win in here. It'd be interesting to see what happens in the Screen Actors Guild Awards, I suppose, and see where the momentum goes there. But yeah, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if any of those three would win, but that's a good prediction there. I feel the Best Actor will either go to Austin Butler or Brendan Fraser. Yeah, again, yeah, a lot of people are big on Austin Butler here. Brendan has been sweeping since Venice, but I don't think he has moments. Yeah, that's the thing about it. I feel like Brendan Fraser really got momentum early on, and sometimes that can hurt you if you get it too early, the momentum too early, and then late in the game, it's one of these things. Late in the game, somebody else could start winning awards or start getting more recognition, and could grab the momentum at the end. There's a lot there. Brendan Fraser. I don't know much about Brendan Fraser. I mean, like let's say for instance, to example, let's say Sylvester Stallone, when he did Creed, he was winning all the awards. It felt like, except for I think maybe Screen Actors Guild, maybe what's his name, Ryman? Was it Ryman? I forget his name for Bridge over Spy. Was it Bridge of Spies? I'm forgetting the guy's name, but the guy that ended up winning, he I think won maybe Screen Actors Guild or something like that for Best Supporting Actor. But Sylvester Stallone won like the Golden Globe, the Critics' Choice. Like I don't know, he was winning like all the awards, and everybody was so high on him. He was like clear favorite for the Oscar, and then he ended up losing. And the thing is, you have to know about like Sylvester Stallone is that he actually is more like conservative than most of Hollywood's very liberal. Stallone, even though he's a big star, he does lean conservative more. And so, and I'm just speculating, but I feel like they probably were like, oh, we can't give the conservative the Oscar. We have to give a liberal an Oscar. I may be totally wrong about that, but I feel like stuff like that, because it was a shock when Sylvester Stallone lost. I was like, how did he lose? He was the clear favorite. And you just go, well, either the other guy just got some momentum towards the end of the season somehow, or people just didn't like Sylvester Stallone personally. You can always say, yeah, the guy did a good performance, but the people that are voting are human beings. They have feelings, and they can say, I don't really like that person personally. And so that person doesn't get the award, and it's unfair, but that's always a possibility when your people are voting, obviously. So, in that way, Brendan Fraser, I can see him getting a lot of momentum, and then all of a sudden, when it comes to Oscar voting, they might be like, I'm not really a big fan of Brendan Fraser, but I really like Colin Farrell. He's like my best friend, so I'm gonna vote for him, or something like that. Who knows? Politics is always, there's behind the scene politics that I can't see, that the regular person can't see. So that's what makes Oscars sometimes hard to predict, because you never know what's going on behind the scenes. And like Josh and Jacob and always saying, Austin Butler, maybe he's gained some momentum right now, and who knows? Yeah, maybe he'll come out the winner, because maybe um, he's the popular person at the moment. Let's see, Josh, I'm seeing The Whale next week, so you haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen that one yet. I'll eventually catch up to it, maybe. Colin was the Globe, but I feel that his performance is more subtle. Yeah, that's true. It wasn't like a big emotional. I mean, he had like, um, let's see. Sorry, I keep losing the chat here. Um, Colin, like the most emotional scene was, spoil the movie. I'm spoiling the movie, but he has a pet donkey that dies, and he's very sad. Like, it's like if my dog died, I'd be very sad. But he has a donkey that dies, and so he's like very sad. That's the most emotional moment, like in the whole movie, him like being sad over his donkey. Besides that, it's not like the most showy performance, I would say. Yeah, definitely Brendan Fraser and Austin Butler have more showy performances, I would say, that would do a lot better. Let's see, I don't want it to go to Butler, but it will. You're really on the Butler thing. It makes me think that Butler really has a good chance if everybody else is on his kind of like him. Let's see, the Globes loves biopic performances. Rami, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Rami played Freddie Mercury and Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, Taron won. That's right. Taron won, playing Elton John in the Elton John movie. What was that called? I'm forgetting now, but yeah, he did win the Golden Globe and then didn't get an Oscar nomination. So that's definitely a Golden Globe thing. Josh very correctly picked that out, and I didn't think about it. But again, Oscars doesn't necessarily go the way the Golden Globes does, so we'll see. He got a BAFTA and a couple others. He was in Normal People. Okay, I don't know that show, but must be, maybe he's more popular in England than in America. But yeah, I thought he got a BAFTA nomination. Austin didn't feel like Elvis. It felt like he was playing an impression of him. I would say it was a fine performance. I still think Rami Malek is one of my favorite performances, playing a real person, whatever. And you can go Jamie Foxx, I think, did an absolutely amazing job, where they really looked exactly like he looked exactly like Freddie Mercury. He sounded like Freddie Mercury when he talked. Of course he wasn't singing, but I don't care, because obviously Freddie Mercury, it'd be hard to find an actor that can sing like Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury was an absolutely amazing singer. But Rami Malek, I thought, man, just totally nailed the part. I was like looking at like that. This is looks like really Freddie Mercury. It doesn't look like an actor. It looks like Freddie Mercury is in this movie. I'd say the same thing about Jamie Foxx and Ray. It really felt like man, this really looks like a young Ray. I say Ray, Ray Charles, and of course he sang and played piano, so he did a lot. And Austin Butler, he did a pretty good job looking like him. I don't know if he sang the songs, but yeah, I don't think his performance was as good as, I would say, Rami Malek or Jamie Foxx or even Joaquin Phoenix. I think did better performances, but still, it's not a bad performance, in my opinion. So Aronofsky had only one film, which was which has one for performance. Okay. In Black Swan, which was Natalie Portman won Best Actress for. The Whale is way too controversial for to win anything. Really? Okay. I don't know much about The Whale except Brendan Fraser plays a guy who's massively overweight, and I guess he's gay as well in the movie. And he has an estranged daughter that he's trying to connect with. I think that's what the movie is. But yeah, so controversial. Okay, that's interesting. That was an okay. That was an Aronofsky. Aronofsky is kind of a weird director to me. I never really liked his films. I don't know, they're like too dark or for me or something. Yeah, Mark Rylance. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, Mark Rylance won Best Supporting Actor for Bridge of Spies over Sylvester Stallone and Creed. And I love Creed so much. I like Mark Rylance though. Mark Rylance is one of my favorite actors working today. He always gives really great performances. And he was generally really good in Bridge of Spies. So I'm like, I can't be upset that Mark Rylance won because he's such a good actor, I think. But yeah, I would have loved to see Sylvester Stallone win that one. But like I said, I think there must have been politics behind the scenes. They probably don't like Sylvester Stallone or something, and they like Mark Rylance or whatever, and he somehow got the Oscar. I didn't like Rami Malek in that film. I don't like that film in general. Okay, I loved. I don't want to say I loved, but I really liked Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought that he did a really good job, and so that's interesting. I'm kind of the opposite on you, Josh. Which happens a lot. I feel like Josh's favorite movies are like my least favorite. My favorite movies are his least favorite. It's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. Okay, then we're going to actor in a supporting role. We got Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin. We got Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway. Got Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans. Barry, I think it's Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin. And Ke-Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't hear my dogs are howling at something. I don't know what's going on up there. Yeah, this is. I'd say I was the big surprise is I think Brian Tyree Henry somewhat, except for Causeway, except for I've heard some buzz around him, and I think he got a nomination in one of the other award shows. I believe he got nominated, so I knew it was a name that I kind of knew. Was there. It was somebody that was kind of in the running, or people were talking about his performance. I haven't seen Causeway. In fact, I've never heard of Causeway before, except for I heard Brian Tyree Henry was like getting like award buzz for it. And that's the only reason why I even know Causeway exists. Besides that, I don't know. It's a movie that didn't come out in theaters around here. It not a movie that I saw any marketing for or any trailers, whatever. And so it's a surprise there in the sense that it kind of is a movie that, I don't know, nobody's heard of. And so it's kind of came out of nowhere in some sense. Not completely, but it's somewhat a surprise in that category. Ryan from RWR Movies did a movie review of Causeway, and he's the only person I've seen so far even give a movie review. So I've never seen a movie review. That's the only time I even know what it was about. I think Jennifer Lawrence is in the movie. Anyway, but yeah, I'm kind of happy there for Brian Tyree Henry because I loved him in Bullet Train. And in fact, in my own award show that I did, the Jason Neal Millennial Awards, I nominated Brian Tyree Henry for Best Supporting Actor for Bullet Train, which is more of a comedy movie, but I thought he was really great in that movie. So I'm kind of happy to see him get, not for Bullet Train, but at least got something. So I'm sure he was great in Causeway. Definitely makes me want to watch that movie now and see what was going on there. Judd Hirsch for Fabelmans, I was a little bit surprised there. Though early on when Fabelmans first came out, people were talking about Judd Hirsch. Is like Judd Hirsch comes in for like 10 minutes and then leaves. He's only in the movie 10, 15 minutes maybe. He plays like an uncle, like he works in the circus or something like that. And so he's like an uncle they don't see very often that comes to spend the night and then leaves. And has like, and he stays the night inside the room of the main character who's supposed to be kind of like a young Steven Spielberg. And so we have that moment, and it's more of a comedic role, I would say, that comes in and comes out. So to me, it was a very forgettable role. I didn't really care for that much, but I remember people were talking about Judd Hirsch possibly getting an Oscar nomination back when Fabelmans first came out, and they're like, yeah, he comes in, has a good 10 minutes, and then leaves. And so People were thinking it, but I feel like he hasn't been getting a lot of nominations up to this point. In fact, I don't think he got really almost any nominations, like Golden Globe, SAG. I don't think he's gotten any. I can't. I don't. I haven't looked at the SAG lately, so I can't remember who got nominated. But I don't think Chris Choice got nominated. So I thought he might be a nominee, but then when he wasn't getting other nominations, I kind of thought he is not in the running for Best Supporting Actor. So him get in here. Somewhat of a surprise to me, though. I know he was talked about early on, so it's not a complete surprise, but still I wasn't expecting it. So that was interesting to see. I really wanted Paul Dano to. I thought Paul Dano was really good in The Fabelmans. He's actually one, maybe my favorite performance of the movie. Actually, I would say was Paul Dano, and I gave Paul Dano the Best Supporting Actor award in my Jason Nolan Millennial Awards, but for the Batman. I really like Paul Dano as the Riddler in Batman. Anyway, so I thought about that. Dano had a really great year, one of the best years out of anybody. So I thought Paul Dano would probably get his Best Supporting Actor nominee here, but instead they went with Judd Hirsch for that. I don't know why. Paul Dano never got nominated. He's had so many great roles. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I didn't write down who was snubbed. Maybe Josh, if anybody got snubbed in the supporting actor role. Because mainly it's Ke Huy Quan's role. I mean, it's his award. I mean, he's sweeping all the awards right now. I mean, he won the Golden Globe, won the Critics' Choice. Um, my prediction is he's sweeping all the awards up to the Oscars, and he's going to win the Oscar. I want to say guarantee. I would almost say I would guarantee that he's going to win the Oscar. He's been doing so well, and I remember even early on before the awards, he was the prediction of everybody was predicting him to win already. So he's been kind of the lead from the start. It seems like, which is interesting. I love Brendan Gleeson. He's one of my favorite he's one of my favorite character actors, like of all time. I remember the first time seeing him in Braveheart back in '95. I thought he should have got an Oscar nomination for that role for supporting actor. I thought it was so good. And then, of course, he was great as Mad Eye Moody in the Harry Potter movies. Loved him in that. But he's a guy that shows up in a lot of movies here and there, and he's always gives a really great performance. So it's like my heart, I want Brendan Gleeson to win just because I think he's had such a great career, and he doesn't get enough recognition, I think, for how good he is. So, but I mean, like I said, Ke Huy Quan's the guy. It's going to be probably impossible to beat. Which is interesting, just to say. Barry Keoghan for Banshees and Sharon, and Ke Huy Quan was in my top 5 least favorite performances. I hated both performances. I thought they were both terrible actors, not actors, but terrible performances from those actors. And so they're two that got nominated, of course. So what do I know? If I don't like it, it's probably going to get nominated. But yeah. I can't say who's in second. Ke Huy Quan's the clear favorite here. Brendan Gleeson, I don't know if he's maybe in second. I really don't know who would be in second place to get it. Maybe Brendan Gleeson. I would be my only guess that could be a dark horse for this. But yeah, again, I think these are all first nominees. Maybe Judd Hirsch. I don't know if he was nominated before for Ordinary People. He might have been. I bet I wouldn't be surprised if he was nominated for Ordinary People back in 1980. But Brendan Gleeson, I don't know that he was ever nominated, though he's given so many good performances. Also Ke Huy Quan, though I kind of now. Eddie Redmayne. Thank you, Josh. Eddie Redmayne, yeah, was one I thought would get nominated for The Good Nurse. I think it was called. Yeah, Josh says here. Yeah, Dano Eddie Redmayne got snubbed. That's it. Yeah, I thought Paul Dano would get in there, and I thought Eddie Redmayne. That was the one I forgot to write down. Yeah, I haven't seen The Good Nurse. It's on Netflix. I want to see it at some point. Looks like an interesting movie. Eddie Redmayne, great actor. Yeah, so that was somewhat surprised he didn't get in there as well. But Ke Huy Quan, I mean, I was kind of like, man, I didn't like him. I don't like everything ever all at once. That was one of my least favorite movies of the year. I didn't like Key's performance at all. He has kind of a whiny voice. Temple of Doom is a movie I don't like. I have Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I have The Last Crusade, but I don't have Temple of Doom. And big reasons because Ke Huy Quan is so annoying in that movie, Short Round. Short Round character just annoys the heck out of me, so I don't care for Temple of Doom. That's not the only reason. There's some other reasons why I don't like that movie, but he's definitely one of the big ones. And so when I saw him in Everything Ever All at Once, I'm like, wow, Short Round, he's grown up now. And I watched that and I was like, wow, he's still an annoying actor. I think he has an annoying voice and all this. That's just my opinion. But I say that to say that when I saw him win the Golden Globe and his acceptance speech was so great, it was one of the best acceptance speeches I've ever seen in an award ceremony. And I really seriously like got, teary eyed. And it was so amazing that Steven Spielberg was sitting there in the audience and he gave Ke Kwan his first role at Short Round in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. And it's so great, him winning the award and looking down at Steven Spielberg and going, thank you for giving me a shot all those years ago. And even though Ke Kwan kind of disappeared, he's another comeback story. And that's why you love the award shows. You love comeback stories. You love seeing either people that you're making a comeback win. It's so fun to watch, or someone who's been given great performances for decades and then them finally winning. That's fun to watch as well. People that you feel like, man, that person has done so great over the years. It'd be nice to see him win, even if I don't like the performance, even if I don't like the movie. I still kind of root for them, going, yeah, I'd like to see that person win. So I'm kind of on this. So now I'm kind of like, man, I really want to see Q Kwan win now, because I want to see a really great emotional acceptance speech at the Oscars. And I just kind of feel for the guy, because he dis- I guess he kind of disappeared from the movie. Also, it's funny, he was in Encino Man with Brendan Fraser. So it's funny to see Brendan Fraser, could win the Best Actor. He could win Best Supporting Actor. And they were both in this really horrible movie called Encino Man back in the 90s. And seeing a picture of those two together is kind of funny to see. Like, oh, it's so funny how connected everybody is. That's always wild when you go, oh yeah, those two were in this movie, and now look what's happening. So yeah, I'm kind of rooting for Q Kwan now. Um, Love to see him win and give a great acceptance speech, and just love to see good things happen to people that maybe don't have it all. Instead of seeing Brad Pitt win, we're like, yeah, Brad Pitt, he's been a superstar forever. I love to see the little guy win for once. Let's see, I got some chats here. Okay, let's see. Talking about the whale, because he said it was controversial, and I didn't quite know what the controversy is, but it's controversial because of the way it tackles the subject matter, which involves crass language and sympathy for a character who I beyond evil. Okay, yeah, okay. I said I haven't seen the movie. Of course, you haven't seen the movie either, but you know more than I do. Um, I've heard that characters are pretty unlikable, except for the Brendan Fraser character, and I know I probably won't like The Whale. I probably watch it just to see Brendan Fraser's performance, but it looks like a very depressing movie from the trailer I've seen. So it doesn't seem like a real great movie in my opinion. But that's interesting. Yeah, crass language. Okay, and you think Sadie Sink's character, who plays his daughter, who was cool to see Sadie Sink. I gave her my TV award show for best supporting actress in a TV show for Stranger Things. So I love seeing Sadie Sink, continue to be successful. Let's see. Supporting role was crazy. Brian Tyree Henry didn't get any options except for SAG. Okay. Yeah. Brian Tyree Henry kind of came late into the game, it felt like. And so he got a SAG nomination. Okay. So maybe that helped get him into the Oscar conversation. Again, I kind of like the actor now, so kind of happy for him. Let's see. Mike, all right. Jason, have you seen the movie called The Phantom of the Open? Oh, I think you talked about it. It was um, it's a golf movie, I believe. I think you said it. I'm thinking, did you misspell opera? Phantom of the Opera? But no, I guess that is a movie, Phantom of the Open. Stars Mark Rylance, British comedy. I think you would love it if I can recommend it. Okay, I'll have to look for it then. Phantom of the Opera. I feel like you've talked about that before. And like I said, Mark Rylance so great. I know he was in a movie called like Bones and All, which I know Mike was like one of your least favorite movies of the year. Not a movie I would ever watch. But I thought he was great in Trial of the Chicago 7, that was nominated for Best Picture back in 2020. And I thought he should have got an Oscar nomination for that role. He played a lawyer. I thought he was really great in that. He was like in Dunkirk, I believe, and he's in a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, I think, if I remember right, something like that. Anyways, but he's really one of my favorite character actors today, for sure. Uh, he was decent in Causeway, so I'm glad he got nominated. George Hirsch was expected. Okay, you expected that. Uh, but yeah, that's good for Brian Tyree Henry. Because he won other awards, I think Ke Kwan will win supporting actor. Yeah. and I would be super happy if he won because his performance was on my top 5 of the year. Yeah, people love this performance. I'm like, again, I said I know I'm weird on that. I didn't like it, but again, I wasn't a fan of the movie. It was just a really weird movie. It was one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my life. And I guess some people are like, "Oh, cool, weird movie, original or something." And I go, "Wow, weird movie, hard to watch." Uh, I agree, Jacob. Although I would count on Keo again. His performance was extraordinary. Okay, I didn't care for his performance personally, but uh, if you like it, maybe it's better than I give it credit for. Let's see. Key deserves it, but I kind of want to see Barry make a funny speech. Um, let's see. What talking about? Oh, Barry Keoghan. You think he'd give a funny speech? Maybe. I don't know much about him. I saw him in the Eternals, and he was decent in that movie. Which Brian Terry Henry was in the Eternals as well. That's kind of the first movie I've seen both actors in, so that's funny. They both nominated for supporting actor, and they were in that movie together. And Brian or Barry Keoghan he came in, spoilers for the Batman, another movie that came out this last year. He came at the very end as the Joker with Paul Dano in the jail cell at the end. So we're kind of probably going to see Barry Keoghan as the Joker maybe in a future Batman movie. So he's definitely got a good bright future ahead of him, I think. It seemed like he had some controversy. He did something, got in trouble. So we'll see. But see, The Good Nurse is decent. Yeah, I like to see that. It's based off a true story of a nurse that killed people, gave them bad injections or something like that, or gave them medicine and killed people. But yeah, I want to give. I know, man. When he won the Golden Globe, I was like, man, I feel so for you. I feel so happy for you. It's fun to see the underdog win, that's for sure. And he's probably going to win, so he's not underdog in that sense. He's underdog in the sense that he's not Brad Pitt, he's not George Clooney, he's not Leonardo DiCaprio. So it's always fun to see those people win. Sadie Sink is apparently irredeemable in the Whale. The film tries to make you sympathize with her. Okay, yeah, I didn't know much about that. Let's see. Yeah, Josh, you like Bones and All. People just misunderstand it. Yeah, again, I hadn't seen it. It looks like a really weird movie about cannibalism. I know Mike had it in his, I think, bottom 10 movies of the year. So I know a lot of people didn't like that, but I know Josh, yeah, really liked that one. Or, yeah, pretty much, yeah. It looks like he really liked it. See, Keoghan is a Twitter troll, and it's hilarious. Okay. His speech would be legendary. I have to say this. He has one of the best Irish accents. I didn't know he was that Irish until I saw Banshees and Sharon, and he had a great Irish accent. That was kind of fun to listen to. So if he wins, I hope he has like a really cool Irish accent. All right, let's go to Best Actress in a Leading Role. Here we got Cate Blanchett for Tar, Anna de Armas for Blonde, which I know you have thoughts on that as well as me, Josh. Andrea Riseborough, if I'm pronouncing that right, for To Leslie. Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Ever All at Once is our best actresses. Again, the big one is Anna de Armas for Blonde, which is interesting because I remember when Blonde was first coming out, and it was kind of a lot of talk about it. The big thing was Anna de Armas, who plays Marilyn Monroe in the movie. Like everybody was like, Anna de Armas is kind of this next big thing kind of actress. I think because of Knives Out, she was kind of leading Knives Out, and people. In fact, she got some Oscar buzz for Anna de Armas. I mean, she got an Oscar buzz for Best Supporting Actress for Knives Out. She didn't end up not getting nominated, but that was the first time I heard of her, and I was like, wow, people are really high on Anna de Armas. And then she had a small part in No Time to Die in the James Bond movie, which she was fine in it. I didn't care for that movie, but and so I'm not like a big Anna de Armas fan, but I know a lot of people really seem to like her a lot. And so then when she did Blonde, it was like, oh, this is going to be a real breakout role for her, and it ended up doing well. I mean, it ended up doing good for her. She got an Oscar nomination, so I mean, good for her for that. And it's hard for me to say it was a good role because it was my number one least favorite movie of the year. When I did my Jason Dillon Millennium Awards, gave my top 10 worst movies of the year, Blonde was number one with a bullet, as they say. It was just a horrible, horrible movie. One of the worst movies I've ever watched. It's like almost 3 hour movie on Marilyn Monroe, and it's just it's just no plot. It's just Anna Armas did a fine job, I suppose, but the movie's so terrible that I have a hard time giving anything positive about that movie. So whatever. I wouldn't have nominated her personally. I wouldn't want to nominate anybody from Blonde, but interesting she got in there, and definitely will further her career, I think. She definitely, I don't know what she has coming up, but I have a feeling she's going to be a really big actress for the future because she's a pretty young actress, I believe. The biggest maybe surprise to me in the whole ceremony was on Andrea Riseborough getting nominated here for To Leslie. I've never heard of the movie To Leslie. I never heard of this actress either. She hasn't gotten nominated for anything up to this point, I don't think, unless she got a BAFTA nomination that I don't know about. And Josh will tell me if he might know more about her, I'm sure. I'm guessing she's an English actress, maybe. To Leslie, never heard this movie. Again, a movie that didn't come out in theaters here, at least, and didn't get any marketing at all. But so that's interesting. Don't know anything about it. That really come out of left field. I think out of all the nominations, that really surprised me the most. I was like, who? What? Absolutely, Kate Blanchett. She's been winning all the awards right now. She seems to be almost going to be sweeping everything. She got the Golden Globe for drama. I think she got the Critics' Choice Award, I believe. She's we'll see the Screen Actors Guild if she gets that. Seems like she's almost a lock for Best Actress. We'll see there. Michelle Williams again. Oh, also I say Kate Blanchett, 8th Oscar nomination. She's won 2. She's won a Best Actress for Blue Jasmine, a Woody Allen film, which was really great, a performance there. And she won a Best Supporting Actress for The Aviator, playing Katharine Hepburn. And yeah, 8 Oscar nominations. I mean, Kate Blanchett is in the top tier, I think, of actresses of all time. You know, she's in that Katharine Hepburn, Meryl Streep, tier. I think is one of the greatest actresses we've ever seen. And she wins for this. I mean, man, I'll give her 3 Oscars, 2 Best Actress and a Best Supporting Actress. That definitely puts her up as one of the all-time greats, So it'd be interesting to see here. A part of me is like, I haven't seen Tar. All I hear though is she's just absolutely amazing in that role. And like I said, she's a great actress, so I'm not surprised at all. I would only say, like, a part of me though, I feel like I would love to see someone else win, just because she's already got she already won 2, so I'm always like, man, I'd love to see another person again. In my opinion, the one I'd love to see, Michelle Yeoh is the one I would love to see in this. Even though Michelle Yeoh, I didn't care for that performance necessarily or for that movie. Michelle Yeoh, a first-time nominee. Michelle Yeoh, I've been a fan of since the 90s when I saw her in Super Cop with Jackie Chan. It's kind of the first movie I saw her in, and she was a kung fu actress, and she did a bunch of kung fu movies in China. Before that was kind of the first movie I feel like she came out in America. That was back early 90s, mid 90s maybe. I don't know. Maybe late 90s, I can't remember. But and then she did Tomorrow Never Dies. She was in the James Bond movie, which I like that movie quite a bit. And I thought she was really good in that movie. So I know her more as a kung fu actress, I guess. But I feel like she's been in a lot of stuff lately. She was in Shang-Chi, The Ten Rings, Crazy Rich Asians. She was really good in that movie. Like, I saw that as an Oscar-nominated movie. So I'm kind of really happy for Michelle Yeoh because I thought she gave such a good performance in Crazy Rich Asians. I'd love to see her win just because I liked her in that role. It'd be cool. But I feel like I see her all the time now. She's getting a lot of good movie roles. And she did win the Best Gold Globe actress for Best Actress in a Comedy. So she hasn't gone up against, she probably went up against Kate Blanchett in the Critics' Choice Awards and lost. We'll see what happens to SAG. It'd be hard to beat Kate Blanchett, but I think Michelle Yeoh has an outside chance of winning the Oscar and getting the upset. And that happens quite a bit. We've seen that happen lately, where where we have an actress kind of sweep all the awards and then somebody else kind of like Olivia Colman, like when she beat Glenn Close. Glenn Close is winning like all of the awards up to the Oscars, and Olivia Colman wins the Oscar, so that was a cool surprise. So you definitely get those surprises here and there. So I'd be very excited if she like came out of nowhere and out of nowhere, but she came in and beat Kate Blanchett. Nothing gets Kate Blanchett. She won. I'd be fine with that. She's obviously a great actress. Michelle Williams, though, is another one that's been. This is her 5th Oscar nomination. Michelle Williams is another great actress. That she's one of the greatest actresses that as so far has never won. I put her up there with Amy Adams, probably as 2 best actresses who haven't won an Oscar, but they're constantly getting nominated. Almost every seems like almost every role it gets an Oscar nomination. It feels like not every role, but quite often she's getting nominated. So I mean, great for Michelle Williams, really good actress. 5th Oscar nomination. I mean, definitely puts her up there. I think is a real good one. So I wouldn't mind her winning either because I think she definitely deserves it. Though I wasn't a fan of her performance in The Fabelmans. I still wouldn't be upset. Anna de Armas, I wouldn't like to see win. Andrea Riseborough, I wouldn't care to see win just because I don't know who she is. But um, yeah, so definitely let's see. I think it's between Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh. I think it's between those two. Kate Blanchett definitely has the front runner, I think, of that award anyway. So let's see, get some more chats here. I have to scroll up to see what did I end up last time. All right, Josh, let's see what you got to say about Anna de Armas. I'm sorry, but Anna de Armas was bull. Andrea was what a pick. That performance is amazing into Leslie. Okay. Yeah, I figured you've seen that movie. You probably know more about that performance. Yeah, Anna de Armas, that was bull. Yeah, I think a lot of us that saw that movie was like, Anna de Armas, like, as much as people like her, it's like, not for that role. Please, no. Blanchett will take it. Yeah, that would be my prediction right now. But Yao could take it too, and that would make me extremely happy. Me too. And hasn't got a chance, and I'm over the moon with that. Yeah, I yeah, I really love to see Michelle. Almost part of me wants to predict Michelle Yao just because it'd be such a cool upset to happen, and I feel like there's got to be an upset somewhere in here, and so part of me is like Michelle Yao could be an upset in that category. Like I said, Kate Blanchett's already won 2, so I know people might be like, Kate Blanchett's already got 2. Let's give Michelle Yao one for goodness sakes. And I think she's the first Asian actress to get nominated for Best Actress, or was that what I heard? So if she won, she'd be like the first Asian actress to win best best actress Oscar. So that'd be cool to see as well. Anyways, I saw To Leslie a long time ago. Okay, she was great in it. The campaign for that film was non-existent, but celebs wanted it. Okay, yeah, because that was like I said, big surprise. Because I haven't seen anybody talk about that movie at all during the award season. Like some of these nominees, like Judd Hirsch or Brian Tyree Henry or Anna de Armas, I've at least heard people talk about them possibly getting in. Though kind of an outside chance, but that one, I never even heard of that one. I think the best actress win will go to either Kate Blanchett or Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying, Jacob. Uh, hey, Video Tasties, Gareth. You were playing a video game. I was watching your live stream before this. So hope you beat the bad guys there. Josh, she's been in a lot of British films. Luxor, Possessor, Matilda. Okay, never heard of those movies. But like I said, I'm guessing a British actress, maybe. So that's good. She's more known. And the British are doing pretty good, though. I think the BAFTAs maybe are bigger. It's a bigger thing than I even realize. I always think of like the Golden Globes and the SAGs as the two. Oscars is like the top tier award show. And then right below that is Golden Globes and SAGs. And then right below that to me is like the Critics' Choice and the BAFTAs. But the BAFTAs maybe is bigger than I even think or have more sway in this whole thing than I even know. Jake, I'm surprised Anna de Armas was nominated for since everyone I know hated Blonde and it swept the Razzies. But she's a great actress and she'll bounce back. Yeah, I think Blonde, yeah, the Razzies also came out and Blonde got a lot of nominations, I think, for worst movie, worst director. But Anna de Armas didn't get nominated for worst actress, of course. So that's like the only good point of Blonde, I guess, is Anna de Armas, who's, a pretty good looking actress as well, not bad to look at. But yeah, still, I think people were surprised because sometimes if a movie really bombs, it really kills the chances because people are like, oh, I like Anna de Armas or something like that. And they're like, but Blonde was so terrible. We can't, give that nomination. But no, Anna de Armas was so good enough that they looked past the movie for that one. See, Blanchett gave my favorite performance of the year. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people thought she was. I haven't seen Tar yet. I definitely want to watch that, see what was going on there. Tar is one of my favorite movies, 2022. Yeah, I got a lot of nominations. It did very well. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. It's cool to see you here. I don't know if you're always in the stream, but always love seeing Joe, who's Mike's brother. Um, love seeing your recaps of the Last of Us. Has been great. I feel like Blanchett momentum is too strong to lose. Yeah, I said she's again. She could sweep all the awards right now. She's has definitely has momentum. Definitely the favorite again, which almost surprised me only because she keeps winning all the time. And it's like surely somebody else will win, but maybe not. Maybe she'll get her third Oscar for this movie. Tar. Again, Tar was like a movie I've never heard of until the award season. It's like, oh, Tar is like one of the best movies. I'm like, oh, I never heard this movie. Uh, and of course, Kate Blanchett was getting a lot of buzz, so that's when I was like, oh, okay, Tar is like kind of a big deal. I didn't think it was like a Best Picture type movie. I thought, oh, it's going to get like a Best Actress, nominee or win. But that was it. But then once Tar started getting more nominees in the award season, I was like, wow, Tar is like one of the maybe top 5 movies in the award season. I feel like it could be right in the top 5 of a movie, maybe somewhere in there. It's kind of towards the upper end. It's doing very, very well. Getting a lot of noms. I've never heard of To Leslie nor the actress who's nominated. Yeah, same here. It was a total surprise to me. Yeah, thank you, Josh. I forgot to talk about the snubs there. The big one, I feel like, is Danielle Deadweiler for Till, as you're saying, Josh. I haven't seen Till, but it's a movie I want to watch at some point. But Danielle Deadweiler playing the main role. Of course, it's about Emmett Till being lynched, and the mother, played by Danielle Deadweiler, I think, speaking out about it or whatever. So yeah, looks like definitely an Oscar type movie or role and stuff like that. And yeah, I think people were surprised, especially Andrea Riseborough getting in there, except for Daniel Deadweiler. That was my biggest surprise. I was predicting her to get in here. The other one was Viola Davis. A lot of people thought Viola Davis would get in here for The Woman King. The Woman King didn't get any nomination. They got shut out, which that was a movie people were talking about possibly getting some Oscar nominations, especially Best Actress for Viola Davis. So that was the biggest surprise, I think, for people was Daniel Deadweiler and Viola Davis. Neither one, got Best Actress. Yeah, so those definitely were snubbed in that category. And I know I'm the only one who liked this, but I really liked my number one movie of the year was a movie from Apple Plus called Emancipation, which starred starred Will Smith, and anyways, but I thought it was my number one favorite movie of the year. I thought it was absolutely amazingly shot. I thought Will Smith gave one of the best performances I've ever seen. I thought the cinematography was absolutely amazing. Very emotional story about a black slave escaping in Louisiana and then getting into the Civil War and fighting for his freedom. Anyways, I thought a really great movie. It got snubbed. It didn't get any nominations, but I kind of knew that. But when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this could be an Oscar contender. I thought for sure because I thought it was such a good movie, so many good performances. Deals with slavery, which seems to do very well in the Oscars. But I don't know. I don't know if it's because Will Smith is so not liked right now, and he's banned from the Oscars anyway, so people just didn't care. But it's not getting good reviews either, which I don't get. I thought it was a good movie, but to me that was one I'm kind of surprised it got totally snubbed out of everything. But I'm the only one who thought it should have got something. I don't see Everything Ever winning a lot. Okay, interesting. It got 11 nominations, so it definitely has the most chances to win. I think it definitely has, as I say, I think it definitely has like Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor. Definitely has those in there, and yeah, it's nominated for a lot. The hard part is it's going up against Avatar and All Quiet on the Western Front. It's going up against some of those movies that it might be hard to win. Some of those technical categories. Elvis could win a lot of technical categories. So we'll see. Riseborough feels like Bardem for Beautiful this year. Yeah, that was a huge surprise when Harvey Bardem was nominated for Best Actor for Beautiful, which was like this obscure Spanish movie or something that nobody really knew about. And then that was the first time I ever heard of Harvey Bardem. and then he ended up having just an absolutely amazing career in Hollywood. Yeah, when no one predicted it and it got in. Yeah, that was. There's always, I guess, you have to say, the Oscars still surprise me. You always think you know what's going to get nominated, who's the favorites, and then someone will get in there, and you're like, where did this come from? And that's always kind of fun to see. Tar can win Best Picture. I mean, it definitely got some nominations, and like I said, it could be towards the top half of the top of the 10 movies. Till was fine, okay, but her performance was good. Okay, so you saw Emancipation? It was not great to me. Felt very bland and cliche for a film that tries to be 12 Years a Slave. Yeah, kind of like 12 Years a Slave. Bland, man. I didn't think it was bland at all. I thought, man, Will Smith was absolutely amazing in it, and the shots of the Civil War battle I thought was absolutely amazing. I don't know. That was just me. I was surprised by The Whale not being nominated for Best Picture. Me too. And I'm gonna get to that. That's one I was kind of surprised about. So glad Hong Chau got nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Yeah. Avatar hasn't got a shot. I don't think so. James Cameron didn't get a nomination for Best Actor for Best Director, anyway. So that kind of I think hurts Avatar. Um, if you get nominated for editing, directing, and screenplay, you have a huge shot at winning Best Picture. Yeah, those are the big ones. Usually, yeah, those exactly. You nailed it. Usually, directing and editing go pretty hand in hand with Best Picture, and yeah, Best Original Adapted Screenplay definitely helps a lot. If you don't get, sometimes it's funny. Oscars have gone kind of weird lately. It used to be back in the day. Yeah, Best Picture was always Best Editor and Best Director, always and Best Screenplay. Like you said, it was always the Best Picture. Best Picture usually got 4 or 5 Oscars. At least lately, it feels like Best Picture sometimes may only get 2 Oscar wins or something like that, something weird like that. It might not get. And a lot of times lately, Best Picture is not getting Best Director, so it's been splitting a lot lately. I don't know if it's because they're trying to. They got so many. We used to only be 5 nominated movies. Now we got 10 nominated movies, so we've doubled the movies nominated for Best Picture. And I feel like they're trying to. A lot of times they try to divvy up the wealth between the 10, and they want to try to get all 10 at least one Oscar win. So something will be like, well, like Bohemian Rhapsody got like 2 wins, like Best Actor, and it got editing, and everybody's like, how did they get editing? And I was like, well, they probably just wanted to divvy up the wins or something like that. Let's see. So Josh, so Fablemans didn't get editing. So okay, yeah, I haven't looked enough into who got editing and directing and all that. That definitely makes you think. Usually whoever got the 5 best directors, I think, are like the 5 top movies that have a chance at Best Picture. And but like I said, and then Ben Affleck totally changed everything when Argo won Best Picture, I think back in 2012. Argo won Best Picture. Ben Affleck didn't even get nominated for Best Director for the Best Picture. So we thought, there's no way Argo's going to win Best Picture. Ben Affleck didn't even get nominated for Best Director. And no, Argo won Best Picture. So I go, well, there goes that theory that, you're not going to win Best Picture unless you get a Best Director nomination. But it's like, okay. So it's like anything can happen. And I feel like editing the same way. I feel like there's been some movies where I'm like, oh, that movie didn't get editing. There's no way it's win Best Picture. And then wins Best Picture. And I'm like, oh. So all the rules are now kind of out of there. But you're right. That definitely makes you think Fablemans. That's interesting because I think Fablemans is one of the front runners for Best Picture. I got to go, but great to speak Oscars with you. Thank you, Josh. You've been very knowledgeable, very, definitely enjoy having you there because you can correct me on anything that I get wrong, or if I need any answers, you have them. Brian Tyree Henry getting a supporting actor nom was a big surprise. He was great in Bullet Train. Yeah, that's what I thought. I loved him in Bullet Train. And oh yeah, I heard he's in Atlanta. Yeah, I've heard. I don't watch Atlanta, so I don't know much about Atlanta, but I know it's a fairly popular TV show, I think, on FX, and so that's where he's probably. And Jacob's going too. So yeah, thank you, Jacob, for being in the chats. That's probably good because I still have some more nominees to get through. So I'll try to get through these, but I'm so happy for you guys. Be in the chat. Jacob and Josh especially giving a lot of great input. I really appreciate that. All right, so now we're going to Best Supporting Actress nominee. We got Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow for The Whale, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Sue for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Angela Bassett, this is her second Oscar nomination. She was nominated for Best Actress for What's Love Got to Do with It, I think, where she played Tina Turner. But that was back in like the 80s. I mean, she was nominated a long time ago. So it's cool. It's almost like a comeback for her to me. Like, wow, like she's now finally getting another Oscar nomination. All these other ones are first-time nominees. Angela Bassett has been kind of a big, really cool surprise. I haven't seen Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, so I can't say a lot about the performance. But I remember when that movie was coming out, everybody was talking about Angela Bassett was the best part of the movie, and people thought she could get an Oscar nomination. But then you're like, yeah, but it's a Marvel movie. It's really hard to get a nomination. In fact, she's the very first person to get an Oscar nomination for playing a role in a Marvel movie, or probably well, not a superhero movie because we got Heath Ledger, but first one to get nominated out of the Marvel MCU, whatever. So that was kind of a big deal. They thought, like I said, Black Panther Black Panther. The first one was the only Marvel movie to get nominated for Best Picture, but didn't get any acting nominations in there. But got some other ones, and Black Panther did fairly well. I know it got, like I said, it got Best Supporting Actress nomination. I think it got costuming and maybe Best Visual Effects. So it got at least, I want to say, 3 Oscars, maybe 4. So it did well in like the technical awards, which you kind of expect because, like I said, the first Black Panther got Best Picture nomination. I think it got, it might have even won. I think it got costume as well in there and some other things, maybe set design or whatever. But yeah, but Angela Bassett wasn't one I was thinking was going to be. Well, this is a out of all these categories, Best Supporting Actress is really the one that's really up in the air. It feels like, except for Angela Bassett's been winning everything lately. So now Angela Bassett is by far the front runner in this role or in this category. But I didn't really think she was going to be at the beginning of the award season because, again, she's in a Marvel movie. So you're thinking, well, the Marvel movie person is going to win. It's going to go to some more serious, movie that's got a Best Picture nominee or something. So I feel like early on, people were saying Carrie Condon from Banshees and Inisherin. It seemed like she was the front runner at the beginning until Angela Bassett, won the Golden Globe and this Critics' Choice. And then it's kind of switched over to Angela Bassett. But so I think Angela Bassett right now is the front runner, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carrie Condon could get in there for the Oscar. Also, Jamie Lee Curtis, who is first-time nominee. Let's see, I got Norn here. Just say hi. Hi, Norn. At the doctor's when wife getting her leg checked out. She felt, oh, okay. I'm so sorry, Norn. Hope she's okay. But thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I really appreciate that, Norn. Just talking about the Oscars. I don't know how you are on the Oscars, Norn, if you pay attention at all. Unfortunately, horror movies don't normally get nominated, but we'll see. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis has been talked about a lot because she's been around for a long time since, Halloween back in 78, 9, whatever, one of the first roles, I think. I think it was her first role. And so people were kind of surprised when it's like, wow, this is her first nomination because she's been around for a while. So I think a lot of people are happy for her getting the nominee there. Which is kind of cool, yeah, because it's like, but the thing about Jamie Lee Curtis is like she was never known as a Oscar type actress. I know her mostly. It seemed like she's more of a comedic actress. I feel like she does a lot of comedies. Wish Called Wanda, True Lies. I think about those movies. Freaky Friday. She's done a lot of those kind of movies. She didn't do in this movie. His performance isn't a serious performance. It's more of a comedic performance, I would say. So I would say I'm almost kind of surprised she got nominated here, but I'm not surprised because she's been getting nominated for all the awards, so I knew she was going to be in here. But when she first started getting buzz, I was like, really? Jamie Lee Curtis? Like, it was such a weird role, and she does a lot of weird things in this role that I'm like, it's not a super showy Oscar, I'm crying type role. But I think Everything Everyone Wants did so well, and the Academy, or all the awards shows, absolutely loved that movie. That I mean, it's getting so many nominations. So I guess they were like, we should nominate something out of that. So they gave Jamie Lee Curtis a nomination there. Some even thought she could win in this category. Like I said, but since Angela Bassett's been winning, again, it's hard to say. Right now, it feels like Angela Bassett's the front runner, but again, who knows? This is definitely a hard. This is going to be the hardest. Might be the hardest category to predict. To be honest, it could be Angela Bassett. Could get surprise her. Can Carrie Condon and Jamie Lee Curtis get in there? Hong Chow, I don't think. Again, who knows? They can always surprise you, but Hong Chow, who knows? I haven't seen The Whale, of course, but she was also in The Menu this last year. Don't know much about her. And then Stephanie Sue, I think her name is. She was in Everything All at Once. Didn't really care for her performance, but a lot of people really liked her. And she was one that was, I would say, I wasn't sure if Hong Chow would get in there. Um, I knew Angela Bassett, Carrie Conn, and Jamie Kirsten were like the top three in this category. Um, I think the actresses from like Women Talking was they thought would get in there, like Claire Foy or Runa Mara, I think, are in Women Talking. So I think people were kind of surprised nobody got nominated out of that movie. And also, She Said, I think Carey Mulligan. People thought Carey Mulligan from that movie. She Said totally got snubbed out of this, out of the Oscars, which kind of why it bombed. It like totally bombed at the box office, so maybe that hurt it. But yeah. Um, but yeah, so Stephanie Sue is not a big surprise because she was definitely was talked about as being a possible nominee. So I'm not totally surprised, but yet I'm just slightly surprised because I didn't know if they'd get two supporting actress nominations out of the same movie. So I mean that just tells you how much they love Everything Everywhere All at Once. They got two nominations out of this category. Like I said, in Women Talking, She Said totally kind of got shut out here, which you thought maybe one of them would maybe get in here. So that's all I guess say about supporting actress there. Let's see what Norn has to say. I keep up to date on the Oscars, but definitely wish they acknowledge horror more. Yeah, sure. I believe Psycho, Parasite, and Silence of the Lambs are the only ones to be nominated. Okay, that's interesting. Psycho, yeah, I don't know. That got nominated for Best Picture or anything? Maybe. It was a really good movie from 1960. I think it probably I'll tell you, I think it probably should have won Best Picture and Best Director for Alfred Hitchcock. Silence of the Lambs, that was the one I was thinking of. Like the one movie you can probably go is a horror movie, maybe it's Silence of the Lambs. Though to me, it's almost more of a thriller. I think it was more like this intense thriller movie more than a horror movie. But I guess I can see why people would say horror movie. That'd be the closest one, maybe, to a horror movie. In fact, they say it's like the first horror movie to win Best Picture. So I guess you can put that in the category, though. I don't know. I have a hard time distinguishing horror from just thrillers because I guess if I'm not and yeah, Silence of the Lambs definitely has some gross moments. So I guess I always think horror movies are really gross and they kind of are disturbing. So I guess that fits that, but yet I can watch it, and I usually can't watch horror movies, so that's why I think it's more of a thriller. Parasite, I never thought that was a horror movie. That's interesting. Uh, it's hard to describe that movie. That's such a weird movie, Parasite, but that's interesting take on that. Let's see, Stephanie Zhu getting nom was cool since she didn't get much during. Yeah, she hadn't really got a lot of nominations at this point. That's why I thought Stephanie Zhu was kind of an outside choice here, outside chance to get in here. Um, she played a great antagonist. Michelle Yeoh's protagonist. Yeah, she played the daughter slash villain in the movie. I'm sure I was also in HBO's Watchmen. Yeah, I didn't see Watchmen. I thought the series wasn't the best, but her part I definitely enjoyed. Yeah, I haven't seen Watchmen. Yeah, I haven't seen Stephanie Sue in anything until Everything Everywhere All at Once, so I didn't know she was an actress. But obviously, she's probably been in other stuff I haven't seen. Surprised Sarah Polley didn't get directing nomination. Yeah, I know a lot of people were surprised by that. No directing nomination for her. But I believe it got a screenplay nomination. All right, I'm gonna go to. So that's all the acting categories. I got best animated feature film. I don't know what to say much on that, but you got Guillermo. I can't say his name. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I know I can say it, but I can't say it right now. uh, Del Toro's Pinocchio, not to be not to be what's the word, confused with Disney's Pinocchio. Two different movies came out the same year. We got Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red, nominated for Best Animated Movie. Pretty good list, I suppose. Though the only movie I liked out of here was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which I just watched this last week, and it was definitely one of the best animation movies of last year. As I didn't like a lot of the animation movies from last year. My favorite was DC League of Super Pets, which didn't get any recognition, which it's too bad. I thought that was a really good movie, really fun movie. Puss in Boots, though, was actually pretty good. I haven't really given my thoughts, I don't think, yet. I'll have to do that in the upcoming what I've been watching. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Cool to see it here. I think Pinocchio is definitely the front runner to win this. Everybody really loves that movie. I hated it. It was in my worst 10 movies of the year. Yeah, didn't care much for that. Pinocchio didn't get a lot of nominations, though. I think this is the only one. I thought it'd get more. I thought it'd get a song nomination. So I was real surprised. Chow Papa was been nominated for everything up to the Oscars, and then totally got shut out for best song. I was kind of surprised there. I don't know. I thought I might get something else. Who knows? Maybe best score or something. Who knows? And best picture. But yeah, it didn't get a whole lot. So I'm a little surprised. Didn't do as well as I was thinking it was going to do. But it's definitely the front runner for best animated feature. I'd say I almost guarantee that's going to win in here. So the show Shoes On, I saw it. Wasn't super crazy about it. It was a cool. Michelle was a fun character at first. She was kind of funny, cute character, but not enough story to do an hour and a half movie for my opinion. But I know a lot of people love that movie. It's an A24 movie. Ryan from RWR Movies. It was in his top 10 movies of the year, so I know he really liked that movie. And so I liked it better than Pinocchio, that's for sure. But that's cool that got in there. The Sea Beast is a Netflix animation movie, and I've heard a lot of people have been real high on that. I know Jacob Martin really likes that movie. I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it. It just didn't do anything for me. So, but again, I heard people like that movie, so I'm not surprised there. And then Turning Red is probably one of my least favorite movies of the year. It was in my top 10 worst movies of the year as well. So there's two movies here that are in my top 10, my worst 10 movies of the year. Turning Red's my least favorite Pixar movie ever made. Anyway, but it got a nomination here, so what do I know? I thought Lightyear was a much better movie than Turning Red, in my opinion. But and then Strange World was terrible. So Disney, not a real good year. They did get one Oscar nomination though, so that's good for them, I guess. Then, I mean, Disney usually dominates the animation feature film, so it's been kind of a downturn lately. It hasn't been dominating nearly as good. I mean, Kanto probably won last year, so it probably did good last year, but I don't know. I feel like it's not doing as well. This year was the worst year for Disney, I think. But anyways, but yeah, not much to say there. Pinocchio, I'm really sure is going to win in that category. Let's see. Yeah. All right, let's see if I got some chats here. Yeah, Kathy Bates won for Misery. Yeah, that was a horror movie. That's a Stephen King horror movie, I guess you can say. Again, almost like a thriller, but I guess it's Stephen King, so it's hard not to say it's a horror movie. But that was back in 1990, I believe. Kathy Bates won Best Actress for that role. The Sixth Sense was another. Yeah, Sixth Sense, you can say it's a horror movie. It got a lot of nominations. Didn't win, but yeah, that's a good point. Sixth Sense definitely had some scary moments in it. Though to me, like again, horror movies are movies that I don't like and that are just really gruesome and gross and disturbing and give me nightmares. And so if it's not that, I have a hard time calling it a horror movie. But maybe it is. I have a hard time distinguishing what's a horror and what's just a thriller, I guess. But I guess Sixth Sense wouldn't be a thriller necessarily. I don't know. I guess you say it's horror, but it's not horrible horror. Like it's a PG-13 horror, not a rated R horror. So the Wolf in Puss in Boots was surprising, a scary villain. Yeah, I love the Wolf. I thought the Wolf was really well done. Animation was incredible in that movie, and action sequence was really good. And yeah, the wolf was one of the best villains I've seen in an animated movie. All right, let's go to best director nominations. We got Martin McDonough for The Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Ever All at Once. We got Steven Spielberg here for The Fablemans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. He has kind of a weird last name, like there's a cum laude above his O, so he's obviously from like Scandinavia or something, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so those are the best directors. Yeah, this is interesting. I can't say there's a clear favorite here. Um, I'm hearing Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans definitely is a big possibility. Spielberg, it's always interesting because he's I would say he's my favorite director of all time. I didn't like Fablemans. I know Josh, you loved Fablemans, and yeah, I think most people probably like that movie. It did very well. I think it's one of the front runners maybe for Best Picture. Spielberg won the Golden Globe for Best Director, but I believe Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert won Best Director for Critics' Choice, so they split on that so far. And Screen Actors Guild doesn't do a director, so I guess we'll see in BAFTAs maybe. I don't know. So it's hard to say who's the front runner there, because Spielberg won the Golden Globe, and made me go, "Wow, Spielberg might be a real shot in this category." And it's a movie. Like Spielberg is one of the most popular directors ever. Everybody knows Spielberg. Everybody's a fan of Spielberg, I would say, for the most part. Um, so Spielberg's won 2 Oscars already. This is his only 6th nomination, which is kind of surprised he doesn't have more nominations for Best Directing. He has a bunch of other nominations for like Best Picture, of course. But in the directing category, actually only 6 nominations there. He's won 2 for Schindler's List and for Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, he's one of the all-time greats. I mean, what can you say? I mean, I always would love to see him win. I thought he should have won for a Lincoln. I was kind of rooting for him for Lincoln because I love Spielberg again, one of the greatest directors. Love to see him get a 3rd Oscar. Put him really in that top echelon. John Ford's got 4 Oscars, the only one that has 4 directing Oscars, and then William Wyler has 3 Oscar wins. Now I'm thinking about it, I think he's the only one that has 3 Oscar wins in that category. No, Frank Capra's got 3. So you got William Wyler and Frank Capra both have 3 Oscar wins for Best Directing. And I think they're the only 2. And then after that, you got a slew of directors who have 2 Oscars. And Steven Spielberg's in that. So if Spielberg wins a 3rd one, you put him in that 2nd tier of directors all time, And I mean, he's definitely up there already as one of the great directors. So he doesn't need it, but it still would be kind of cool. And I think it might be a not sympathy vote. I don't know. It might be because The Fablemans is about making movies. It's about being a director. He's directing a movie about himself basically as a kid who falls in love with movies and wants to be a director. So maybe they'd be like, oh, let's give him the win because it's a movie about him. So there's something cool in there about that. So yeah, Spielberg definitely. He got nominated just last year for West Side Story. So again, Spielberg's like 80 years old probably, and still killing it as a director. Still amazing director. And Fablemans was directed very well, of course, as every Spielberg movie is. It just wasn't one of my favorites for sure, but yeah, so it's cool there. But I think Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything All at Once definitely is a big chance here to win because I think Everything Everywhere at Once is the front runner for Best Picture. So if you're a front runner for Best Picture, you have a good chance at Best Director. And they've never won before, so they might be cool to give them. Plus, I can understand Everything Everywhere at Once was such a weird movie, and there's so much that happens in that movie that I don't know how they made it and how the directing must have been quite something. So I kind of give them props, even though I didn't like the movie, that they really did something interesting in that movie. So I don't know. I kind of lean towards Daniel Kwan and Dan Schenner for Everything All at Once, but Spielberg obviously is a I don't know what's the word, emotional nominee there. Martin McDonough for whatever for Banshee and Sharon, maybe because Banshee and Sharon is another movie that's definitely got a chance at Best Picture. Who knows? I don't think so. I think it's between Steven Spielberg and I think Everything Everywhere All at Once. Uh, Todd Field from Tar was kind of a surprise there because like I said, the five best directors usually kind of tells you like where they think the movies are as far as best picture. And like I said, usually you're not going to win best picture without a directing nomination. So you think who's going to win is one of these five. So once we get the best picture, I guess I'll talk about who's got the chances there. But Tar Field, I was somewhat. I wouldn't say I was totally surprised, but uh, surprised other people like Top Gun didn't get in there. James Cameron didn't get in there. I think a lot of people like James Cameron would get in for best director. I was kind of surprised Edward Berger from All Quiet on the Western Front didn't get in there. And I would almost root for him just because we have the same last name. So I kind of like him. I'm not related, unfortunately. It'd be cool if we were related. I think he's German, and I got the Berger is definitely a German last name. The probably biggest surprise here is Triangle of Sadness. That to me seems like a movie out of left field that nobody talks about. And I just barely know that movie exists. It's not a movie that got any marketing. Again, no trailers I ever saw for it. I haven't heard anybody talk about this movie at all. And so it did very well for a movie that no one talks about here. And I'm real surprised it got in for Best Director. I don't think anybody was talking about this for Best Director. And never heard this guy, Ruben Östlund or whatever. Sorry. So that was a big surprise seeing him in there. Like I said, not seeing like James Cameron or Edward Berger, I thought would get in there instead. Or who knows? I'm probably forgetting who else. Or Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann could have been a possibility there. So definitely was surprised that one of those people didn't get in instead of Triangle of Sadness. So that's a bit surprised there. But yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on directing. And I don't think I got anybody in chats. Maybe I got one here. It's funny that on a day of, or Moss is nominated, Yarmus, whatever it is, for Blonde. However, the movie itself is, Jacob talked about that. Yeah, Arna de Armas. Blonde did really terrible, which it should. It was my least favorite movie. But okay, let's get to Best Picture, the last category on my list here. 10 nominees. I predicted 8 out of the 10. There's 2 surprises, in my opinion. Right? Yeah, or 3. Actually, there's 3 surprises, kind of, now I think about it. No, there's 2 surprises in here. In fact, the very first movie was a surprise to me, All Quiet on the Western Front. Nominated for Best Picture. Because I don't think this has been getting a lot of nominations in the other categories, unless I'm wrong. Maybe, and some awards have different rules, like they don't nominate international films for Best Picture. Sometimes that happens. I don't know all the rules, but All Quiet, and then a lot of the other awards don't give a lot of technical awards. So what really got this in there was that this movie got a lot of technical awards. So this really did extremely well. And it's funny, as I'm watching the nominations, All Quiet on the Western Front, they go alphabetically. So All Quiet on the Western Front is the first movie in every category alphabetically that begins with A, basically. And it's, well, you got Avatar, but it's in front of Avatar even alphabetically. But so every technical category was like All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm like, oh wow, there's cinematography or something like that. All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm like, oh, there's costume. All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's visual effects, which I don't know what the visual effects are. I don't remember seeing a lot of it so far in the movie, but every single like technical category, the very first movie is All Quiet on the Western Front. So after a while, I'm thinking, wow, they really like All Quiet on the Western Front. This movie might get nominated for Best Picture. But coming in, I wasn't predicting All Quiet on the Western Front. It was really, I'm aware of the movie. I knew it was going to get like a Best International Film, and right now I would say it's the front runner for Best Film. It's the front runner for Best International Film, I think. It's from Germany. And also, it's a interesting note is that it's a remake of a Oscar winner. All Quiet on the Western Front won Best Picture back, I believe, in 1930, I want to say. So a long time ago. It was one of the first movies to win Best Picture. I want to say it's the second or third movie to win Best Picture in the history of the Oscars. And it's a movie I've seen, and it was very groundbreaking at the time because it's from a German perspective, which is weird because Germany's always been our enemy, World War I, World War II. So it was weird to have a movie from the German perspective, and of course it's about World War I and about troops going fighting for the homeland, for Germany, and then realizing, oh, war really sucks, and we really wish we didn't join the army because this is miserable, living in trenches and getting shot at. Anyways, and being in cold rain and mud and terrible. Anyway, so it's kind of the first anti-war movie back in 1930, like I said, and so it was kind of groundbreaking for that extent because you don't usually get anti-war movies. Usually, you want to be pro-war, but this was an anti-war movie at the time. Again, got Best Picture. I would say it's not a movie that I care about that much. And again, just to talk about, I've watched like an hour of the movie so far, and um, war movies are very unpleasant just by nature because war is an unpleasant thing to think about and to watch. People dying for political reasons, nothing that they have anything involved with, and so there's always hard to watch war movies for me. And I can't say I'm like a big fan of that genre of movies, though I do watch them from time to time just to get that experience of like what was it like. Like Band of Brothers, I absolutely love. That's like probably my favorite, um, you know, series about World War II. And World War One's kind of a boring war. I hate to say this, no offense to all those people that fought in the war, but they spent a lot of time in trenches, and I don't know, and they didn't. Nothing happened really. Like you'd go from one trench to the other, and you'd get killed because you're in an open field and there's machine guns, and so they called it a war of inches. You have a trench, and then you'd maybe move an inch forward, and then they would try to move an inch forward, and I mean, just tons of people would die over 3 or 4 or 5 years that it went on. People are dying and nobody's winning. It's like we're all just dying and nobody's winning this war. This sucks. So it's not the most fascinating war to make a movie about. But anyway, so that's kind of cool that just last year we had West Side Story, which was a remake of a movie that won Best Picture back in '61, the first West Side Story. And so we had West Side Story get nominated again last year. So it's interesting that this is the second time in a row that we have a remake of an Oscar winner get an Oscar nominated for Best Picture. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting just to think about. But yeah, so I was a little surprised by that. Did very well. Then we got Avatar: The Way of Water here, which is great. I think I haven't seen Avatar. In fact, I didn't like the first Avatar movie. I have a feeling I'm not going to like this one. But I mean, two Avatar movies, and they both got nominated for Best Picture. First one back in 2009, which that one had a real chance at winning. Ended up losing against The Hurt Locker back in 2009, but it definitely had a big chance of winning. This one I don't think has much of a chance of winning. Like Josh said, it didn't get director and probably didn't get editing. Maybe didn't get didn't get screenplay. I know it didn't get screenplay. So I guess I didn't get the screenplays. I should have got the screenplays. That's what I'm missing. I should have. I forgot to print out the screenplays because that would be interesting to look at who got screenplay. I know like Banshees and Sharon to me is probably the front runner for original screenplay. I forget adapted screenplay. What got that one? Trying to look at the best pictures. One of these best pictures, I'm sure, but yeah, Women Talking maybe. I don't know. That might be original. I don't know. I don't have the screenplays in front of me, but anyway, so yeah, Avatar. I'm happy for it only because it's the biggest box office movie of the year. So I do love seeing when a movie that's really popular gets nominated for Best Picture. To me, that's the way it should be. Your most popular movie should be. I mean, people watched it for a reason because it's a really good movie. I mean, I probably won't think it is, but most people think it's a good movie. So that's good for the Oscars. I mean, because people might watch the Oscars, so they might be like, "Hey, I've seen Avatar. I like Avatar. I want to see it win." So I'm happy in that sense. I'm not happy in the sense that I don't know if it's a good movie, but happy in the sense that they put in. To me, this is a much better. This 10 movies is a much better 10 movies than the last 2 years. Last 2 years it was absolutely horrible. The nominees, I think. So this is definitely a big step up in nominees, in my opinion, especially when you have Avatar in here. Third movie is Banshees of Inisherin. like I said, doing very well. Uh, Definitely maybe second. Right now, I think it's I would say it's maybe in my second spot for Best Picture. Um, I think it even has a chance maybe to win. It has an outside chance to get in there. I believe it won the Golden Globe. No, it didn't win. I want to say it won the Golden Globe. It won. Colin Farrell won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy. I remember that. It didn't win Best Supporting Actor, of course. Um, but I think it won Best Screenplay or something like that. I have a feeling it's going to win Best Screenplay at least. Maybe that might be the only Oscar it gets. And maybe Best Supporting Actress is a possibility there as well. There's some possibilities, but I think it's definitely in the running for Best Picture. Definitely, like I said, I think it's one of the top three right now. Then we got fourth, we got Elvis. Another one, I didn't like the movie Elvis. I thought it was too long, too boring. Um, but I'm happy that I got in here again because I think Elvis was a movie people actually watch and people actually like. So I'm really happy that they got a movie in there that people actually enjoy, and it'll help the Oscar ceremony to be like, hey, I want to see how Elvis does, and especially Austin Butler. That's gonna be the big one. See if Austin Butler could come out with the win for Best Actor. So yeah, I'm actually kind of happy that got in there, even though I don't like it. See, fifth movie, we got Everything Ever All at Once. That's the big one. I think it's got most nominations. Uh, like I said, it has a chance to win the most. I think out of here, I think it's the front runner for Best Picture at the moment. We'll see as we go along. It won the Critics' Choice, I believe. So I guess we'll see at the BAFTAs because it's not going to be in the Screen Actors Guild. But and I don't know. There's probably a PGA too, so we'll see how it does in the PGA as well. But yeah, Everything All at Once, definitely a big one. Six, we got The Fablemans. Definitely was predicting that. Again, uh, it's another movie I think people actually maybe watch. I don't know if it did very well in the box office, but I feel like it's somewhat more accessible movie than some of these other ones. Like Everything Everywhere at Once is a really hard movie to watch if you're just a regular moviegoer. I think if you're a movie nerd, that's more of a movie for you. Fablemans, though, is a movie I think anybody could watch. It's a little too long at 2.5 hours, but um, definitely one I think people enjoy, and people like Steven Spielberg. So, it's probably good. I'm glad it got in here just because people might be interested in the Fablemans because of Spielberg and all that. So it's not a terrible nominee here. In fact, to me, it's one of the top three movies that could get Best Picture. It won, I think, the Golden Globe for Best Drama. So it's definitely it definitely has a chance here. Yeah, so Banshees won. Yeah, so Banshees won the comedy musical, so it'd be Everything Ever All at Once. So everything that's kind of surprising. I do remember that though. I was thinking they really liked the Banshees, the Golden Globes. They got over Everything Ever All at Once um, for Best Comedy or Musical. So they definitely loved it. It definitely did really well there. Um, will the Academy like it as much as Golden Globes? We never know. But anyway, so that's in there. Let's see. Seventh spot is Tar. Again, this is a movie I was not. I haven't seen it yet. It was not a movie I really was expecting it at the beginning of the season, but then I saw it was getting a lot of nominations, so it was one I was definitely predicting to get a nomination here. I thought, and it's got a strong, Best Actress nominee, and now it's got Best Director, so it's definitely like one of the top 5 movies, maybe as well. I think you have to put it there because they got the directing nomination. So Academy really likes the Tar. So definitely, again, I don't like the fact that it's a movie that I don't think anybody's watched. I may be wrong. Again, I've never seen a trailer for it, never seen any marketing for it. So, and I'm a movie nerd that pays attention to this stuff. So a regular movie goer, they're not going to be paying attention as much as me. So I doubt many people have seen this movie or heard about it. And that hurts it, I think. I think that what hurts the Oscars the most, I said it before, I say it again, is when the regular movie goer sees who gets nominated out of 10 and says, I've heard 4 of those movies, maybe. I think everybody looks at it and goes, oh, I've heard of Avatar, I've heard of Elvis, I've heard of the Fablemans, and I've heard of Top Gun. I think that's what the regular moviegoer. In fact, most people I've talked to probably would say, I've seen Top Gun and Avatar, and that might be the only 2 movies they saw out of the 10, or maybe Elvis, But the regular moviegoer is going to look at this and go, the Oscars suck. Nobody's heard of these movies. Of course, if you're a movie nerd that pays attention like me or other people have movie channels, you pay attention. So you're like, oh, I've heard these movies. I've seen these movies. But I don't know. I think we need to make the movies something the regular moviegoer has seen, so the regular moviegoer can go, hey, I want to watch the Oscars because I want to see these movies. Who's going to win out of these movies that I know? But if someone looks at the list and goes, I've never heard these movies, then no one's going to watch the Oscars, in my opinion, and it makes it less exciting. But anyways, so we got Tar there. In the eighth spot, we got Top Gun Maverick, which is really cool. In my opinion, the best movie out of these 10. And Top Gun, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. So I'm not even that crazy about Top Gun. It was barely a recommend for me. I was mostly bored throughout the movie, except for the last like 20 minutes was really good and exciting. But Top Gun Maverick, the second, I think Avatar is the biggest box office movie of the last year. Top Gun's second. So it's really great to see the top 2 movies of last year get nominated. I'm very happy about that. I think that makes this list so much better. Even though Top Gun, to me, I'm surprised just the fact that it's not your typical Oscar movie. It's such a more exciting, it's about piloting, jet planes. It's not your usually depressing, boring movie that usually gets nominated. So that's cool to see they're branching out and that nominating actual movies people like. So yeah, I'm really happy to see Top Gun Maverick here. I think that's going to help the Oscars so much, getting that one in there. And then the 2 big surprises, or 2, well, no, one of these is real surprising. The other one's somewhat surprising, though I was kind of guessing it might get in. The biggest surprise to me is Triangle of Sadness here at the 9th spot, getting nominated for Best Picture. I wasn't expecting it, really. It's, again, a movie that no one's talked about, a movie no one's heard about. I think it's a comedy. I haven't seen it yet. It's a movie I'll catch. Josh already said it's his least favorite out of the 10, but we'll see. That might mean it's my favorite movie out of this list. If it's Josh's least favorite, it's probably my favorite. That's kind of how it works sometimes between some people. We'll see. I'd be interested in watching it. I know Woody Harrelson's like in it. That's only actor I know on top of my head that's in it. But it got a Best Directing nomination, which was surprising. So I guess the Academy really likes this. Again, I don't think it's got nominated in the Golden Globes or the SAGs or the Critics' Choice, maybe. I think it got I feel like there's an acting nomination that got in there for one of the, but it didn't get any acting nominations in the Academy Awards. But I think there's an actress that got nominated maybe for one of the awards and one of the award shows. So I knew at least one actress was kind of talked about. Besides that, yeah, this was the biggest surprise. The Best Pictures, like Triangle of Sadness, kind of came out of nowhere and got in here. So that was interesting to see. And then the 10th spot, it was Women Talking, which I thought had an outside chance of getting there. It's somewhat surprising because it got some buzz when it first came out, but it's been shut out. Like I said, Claire Foy, Rooney Mara, been shut out of the acting categories, which is surprising because those are 2, fairly popular actresses right now. And so I thought one of those would get in, but none of those got in any of the other award shows. So Women Talking did get a screenplay. I do remember that. And from Sarah Polley, who also directed. Again, I guess a snub. People say Sarah Polley didn't get nominated for Best Director. People are expecting that. But again, Women Talking didn't get a lot of nominations. So it was kind of barely made in. It's kind of surprisingly kind of barely made into his top 10 nominations anyways. So it definitely doesn't have any chances, I think, of Best Picture, along with Triangle of Sadness is very towards the bottom, I think, of the list, in my opinion. Again, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshees and Sharon, Fablemans to me are the top 3. The All Quiet on the Western Front definitely makes me wonder if that's higher on the list than I even realized. But then you have to say Tar, I think, definitely in the top 5, maybe. Though I've heard some people say Top Gun Maverick has a chance. I don't think it has a chance. It's not just not an Oscar movie. Like I said, Oscars don't like giving good movies the win anymore. So I'd be very surprised if Top Gun Maverick won, but that would be cool. That would be a huge upset surprise. But I think everybody would be happy with it. It'd be a very pleasant surprise. So we'll see. That'd be cool to see that win. But yeah, that's my take on that. I'm going to go over who got the most nominees here just to give you some perspective. That usually helps who gets the most nominations. Leading the way is Everything Everywhere All at Once with 11 Oscar nominations. Absolutely incredible. And I knew this was doing well I was surprised when it got Best Costume. I was like, Best Costume? I wasn't expecting that. And then it got best song, and no one's talked about the song. And I was like, wow, I got a nomination for best song. Like, wow, they really like this movie. And they got 2 supporting actress nominations. I was like, wow, they gave it 2 supporting. It got a best actress, best supporting actor, and 2 best supporting actors. So it got 4 acting categories. That's pretty huge. Best director, I know, was in there. Probably best film editing probably was in there. But yeah, it got so many nominations. I was like, wow, they love this movie. So that's why I'm like, this has got to be the front runner at the moment. But like I said, Power of the Dog, I think, got the most nominations last year, and Coda ended up winning. So, but Jane Campion won Best Director for Power of the Dog. So it was interesting that they split that. I was a little surprised, but yeah, so you never know. But it definitely gives it an edge. Um, so we got 2 movies. They got 9 nominations. All Quiet on the Western Front. Man, I'm surprised that it got 9 nominations. I wasn't expecting it to get in here, and it got 9. Again, it's got like every technical award nomination. Maybe can win some of those. We'll see. Also, The Banshees and Inisherin got 9 nominations. Again, like I said, that's why I think it's second maybe after Everything Ever All at Once. Definitely has a chance at Best Picture. Got 9 nominations. Got acting, 2 supporting acting, and an supporting actress. So got 4 acting nominations in there. Best directing in there. Best screenplay. So definitely got some of the major award nominations there. That's going to help it out for sure. Then after that, we got Elvis with 8 nominations, so really good for Elvis. Obviously, the best actor is the big one here. Got a lot of technical awards, like for I think got makeup and hairstyling, but I think that's because Tom Hanks is in a fat suit. It's like anytime you put someone in a fat suit, they get nominated for best makeup and hair. Like I think The Whale got nominated for makeup and hair too because Brendan Fraser's in a fat suit. For goodness sakes, I want to say like Austin Powers got nominated because Mike Myers was in a fat suit and Austin Powers 2. Uh, I forget. We've had some instances where it's like, how did that movie get nominated? And it's like, oh, because they put a someone in a fat suit, so they got nominated. But anyways, but yeah, Elvis got like costuming, I think cinematography, set design. So a lot of the technical awards is really helping Elvis out. Again, I don't think it has a chance for Best Picture because no directing. I don't know if we got. I don't think he got screenplay, maybe, or yeah. So it definitely missed out on some of the big ones there, and only 1 acting nomination. So still 8 nominations is really good for Elvis. And I know a lot of people like that movie, like Adam from What the Gym. Then next we got The Fabelmans with 7. Not as much as some of those big ones. I still think Fabelmans is. I think Josh didn't think that has a chance because it missed out on editing or something like that. But I still think Fabelmans is kind of up there. I'm starting to feel like it probably won't win, but I definitely thought from a while now it's definitely one of the front runners. You got Spielberg, of course, for Best Director. You got a supporting actor there for Judd Hirsch, which helps. And Best Actress nomination from Michelle Williams. So you got 2 acting nominations there. And Best Director, maybe Best Screenplay. I think he probably has Best Screenplay. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't have it in front of me, but so it just misses out on some technical awards maybe because it's a little more of a, I think it got like set design or something like that, maybe cinematography or something like that. But not as technical as some of those other ones. That's why it doesn't get as many nominations, but doesn't necessarily mean to hurt it. But then we got Tar and Top Gun Maverick with 6 nominations apiece. Again, Top Gun, you would think it didn't get any acting and directing, so I don't think it got editing. Somehow it got adapted to screenplay, which I don't know what. And someone said, I guess if you're a sequel, you're adapted from the first movie. I don't know. So that was a weird nomination, adapted screenplay for Top Gun Maverick, in my opinion. But obviously, it got like some technical awards for like visual effects, I think, and cinematography. It got so it got some of that stuff because they did some amazing stuff technically on that movie. Tar, I haven't seen it, but I know there's a lot of music in it. It got Best Actress in there. It got Best Director in there. So it got some major ones. Gives it a chance. Let's see. Yeah, then you got Avatar: The Way of Water with 4 nominations. It's next on the list. Not a lot of nominations for Avatar. It kind of seemed like it doesn't have much of a chance. Didn't get Best Director. Probably not editing, I'm sure, or screenplay didn't get. So no acting nominations out of it. So definitely towards the bottom of the list. Like kind of barely got in there. But Definitely getting like visual effects. I can't imagine anything's going to be for visual effects. And I know it got some other technical awards. And of course, Avatar did very well technically because it, and everything I hear about Avatar, people say, "Oh, the story's not very good, but it was really fun to look at. It was really beautiful to look at, and that's why people like it." So I imagine it's going to win some technical awards. That's about it. And then we got Triangle of Sadness with 3 nominations. Again, a big surprise here. Best Director though, that's a big surprise for a movie that only got 3 nominations. It got Best Director. That's weird. That's a really weird nomination there. But no acting nominations. It's got a screenplay, I believe, in Best Picture. So 2 big ones, but that's about it. And then at the very end, we got Women Talking with only 2 nominations. So Women Talking really barely got in there. And I know it surprised a lot of people, weren't predicting it in there. I thought it had a chance. I wouldn't say I was really thinking it was going to get in there, but I knew it was definitely one in the running. So it got like a best screenplay and best picture nomination. So not much there for Women Talking. Definitely didn't have a chance there. I think the movies that got kind of snubbed, I thought I was predicting Pinocchio to get in there actually because everybody loved Pinocchio, but it only got 1 nomination for best animated film, so it didn't really do as well as I thought. And Guillermo del Toro, of course, has won before for The Shape of Water, so that I know they like him as a director and all that. But yeah, I thought that could get in there for best director for best picture. The big one to me was Babylon. I really thought Babylon was going to get in here because it's a Damon no not Chamel, is that his name? He's very popular. He was nominated for Whiplash and for La La Land. He won the Best Director, so he's won an Oscar already. Damon yeah, I can't say his name, but anyways, it's another one of his movies. It has a huge cast. Margot Robbie, I thought actually was snubbed. I thought she would get an Oscar nomination for Best Actress, so she kind of also lost out, or Best Supporting Actress. I thought she would get in somewhere, so she kind of got snubbed there. Brad Pitt is also in there. It's a big production movie. I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably watch it at some point. I know it's a crazy movie. It's like 3 hours long, but it looks like it's got pretty good production. And so I think it got some Oscar nominations, I think, in some technical awards. It didn't get any acting or directing, of course, or Best Picture or screenplay. I think it got set design, maybe award, maybe costume or something like that. It just got a couple out here. So Babylon really did not do very good as I expected. I expected it to get more nominations. I expected to get Best Picture. So somewhat that was a big surprise to me that Babylon didn't get in here. And then the other one I thought had a chance was The Whale, as Josh said actually in the comments earlier. The Whale definitely had a chance because Brendan Fraser, of course, is a big one for Best Actor. Also got a Best Supporting Actress nomination, but didn't get any directing or screenplay, I don't think, maybe. But got like costume, like I said, not costume, makeup and hairstyling, I think got in too. So it still got like at least 3 Oscar nominations out of there. And it's just one of those depressing looking movies that get nominated all the time. So, yeah, so The Whale was somewhat, I wouldn't say a big surprise. I thought it had a chance to get in there. But anyway, so that's all my thoughts on the Oscar nominations. Let me get through some of these chats and we'll close out here. See, Bardo, A False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, should have been nominated for Best Picture and Directing, in my opinion. Surprising to get nominated for Best International Picture. I haven't seen it. It's on Netflix, though. I heard it's kind of a weird movie. That's why I haven't looked at it. It seems like it's kind of a long, very strange movie. So that makes me not. When I hear those words, long and strange, I'm like, that doesn't sound like my kind of movie. But it's Inarritu did the movie, which he's a really good director. He's won 2 Oscars for Best Director for Birdman and The Revenant. He won back-to-back director Oscars. So really great director. I'm interested in it only because I think he's a great director. So maybe I'll catch it. I guess you'll tell me if you think it's a good movie or not. I haven't heard a lot of like positive reviews though for Bardo or whatever. It did get 1 nomination though. I remember seeing it in the nominations. Did he get cinematography? I think it got best cinematography nomination. So it came out with 1 nomination. But yeah, you're right. It didn't get an international. That's another one that maybe could have. I'm sure it's from Mexico or something, you know. But I don't know anything about the internationals except for All Quiet on the Western Front. It's from Germany, and that's like the only one I really know about in that. But yeah. See, Banshees was Golden Globe. Yeah, that's right. I already did that one because he was answering me because I was like, I think Banshees won, but I was surprised it won over everything ever all at once, but it did. Let's see, Banshees won best screenplay too, yeah, and Colin Farrell won, yeah. So it did really well at the Golden Globe. So we'll see. But anyway, so that's the end of the chats. Thank you for everybody watching. This went over 2 hours. Just getting some of my thoughts on the Oscars, and somewhat excited to see what happens, because I think this is a much better nomination movies than the last 2 years. I think were absolutely horrible. Anyway, so yeah, that's cool to see. Hopefully, we got Jimmy Kimmel as host. I think Jimmy Kimmel is a really horrible host. He's done got a funny bone in his body. Uh, Never liked his show, his late night show. I never enjoyed. Never thought he was funny. And he's hosted twice, and they're like two of the worst Oscar ceremonies I've seen. They're up there, anyways. So I don't have any expectations of. I hate that. I love a good host that's funny and does a good job. It might be step up from last year. Last year wasn't good either, but I'd love to see him go back and try to find a good host. But Jimmy Kimmel's third time hosting, so blah, who cares? But hopefully they're going to actually have an Oscar ceremony like they did last year. So that'd be great. Not have the remote stuff like they did during the COVID stuff. Yeah, so I'm still kind of interested in seeing what happens. I think this is going to be much better. We'll see if anything crazy happens like last year with Will Smith. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about some of you have already given your thoughts, and I agree with a lot of you. So thank you a lot. I guess it's still Josh and Jacob, especially commenting in there, and Mike got some comments in there, and Norin. Hope your wife's okay. And again, congratulations, Mike, on the engagement. Really excited for you. Really happy that goes well. And also Joe got in there, so happy for that. But anybody watching this back, yeah, give me your thoughts about the Oscars. Most of you are probably gonna be like, "Oh, Oscars, who cares?" Yeah, I know that's sentiment, but anybody that has any interest in it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, anything. I love to read anyway. So yeah, so thank you a lot for watching this. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a good day.